And for every day I stay in this country, I'm scared for my life, right? Every day I stay in this country, I'm scared for my life. I've had threats. I've had people call me. I think yesterday I was telling you about somebody that walked up to me in the restaurant, and he said he was just coming to Abuja from Lagos and told me to be very careful, especially about my episode on all out of nowhere. I saw men with guns, just me. There were like, I think, 4 or 5 officers with guns. And I'm talking of AK-47s, not pistol. So
Wow.
they said that they needed to go to my house to search. I said, "What are you searching for? I already told you everything." They went through everything in my house, my bedroom, went through my wife's things, her undies, her clothes, under my bed. I didn't know what they were looking for.
Yes, peace and blessings, everybody. I am your brother Orina Oigo, all the way from the motherland, all the way from Kenya, Nairobi, nation's capital. Welcome to Sell Africa to Africans, the home of Pan Africanism. Well, this man needs he needs no introduction, but I'll try my best to give him a honorable introduction. I've been watching him for a long time in his YouTube channel. This man explains Nigeria and Africa generally in a very high quality, informative way. And I am really honored to have him on the show. Investigative documentary filmmaker, investigative journalist, all the way from Nigeria. And by the way, I really want to say thank you to my Nigerian fans. You guys are really supporting Sell Africa to Africans, and I'm sure you are happy to see this guest today. So please welcome the one and only Jude Bela. Brother Jude, how are you doing?
I'm fine. Thank you so much. Thank you for having me on your show.
I hope my intro was honorable.
Yes, of course. You did a good job. I envy you guys that are able to do this without script to just roll like that. It's awesome. If you put me on camera, I'll just I'm not used to camera like that. So I must be honest with you. Doing this is oh I'm always wondering when I watch podcasts like yours, how do you guys do this? And in fact, it's amazing. It's amazing. I've watched a couple of your interviews, and I must say you're doing a great job for the people of Africa. So I'm very honored to be on on your show today.
Oh, thank you, man. I'm telling you, you don't know how your videos inspire me. I keep on telling you, yesterday when we were talking on phone, I told you my favorite episode you did was the Liberia Charles Taylor one, because I'm doing, it came, I watched it in a very opportune time when I'm doing my research on Liberia, because I'm really interested in Liberia. And
Okay.
I was greatly inspired. You did a fantastic job, and I've watched Power and Plunder. We're going to talk about all that. As you can see, I'm a big fan of you. By the way, and my question is this: before we start talking about Nigeria and the nitty gritties and everything, man, when I watch your videos, you pay close attention to detail. What inspired you to be investigative documentary filmmaker? What inspired you to make your own platform and showcase Nigerian and generally African stories from a very detailed, quality, informative standpoint?
All right. Thank you so much. Well, I think I'm more of a researcher than a journalist, quote unquote. I used to tell people that I'm not a journalist, and it's because I don't think I have the training or the qualification for that. I think people like David, that is David Hondein, is the foremost investigative journalist that we have. For me, I'm more of a researcher that love to read. I love to read these stories, political stories, in fact, and geopolitics and history happens to be some things I'm so keen to learn more on every day. Some people that have inspired my work is, like I said, David. I came across him, I think, That was 2020, 2021. I discovered his handle and started reading up some of his work, and I was like, wow, this is interesting. And I used to be interested in things like this before. So I started following him keenly. And then there is this other journalist in the United States, Johnny Harris. Okay. Johnny, he used to work with Vox. He created this Vox Borders that was very interesting geopolitical series. He travels to these countries, make video explainers about things happening there, and he makes his stories so easy to follow. And I was like, wow, this has to be the best storyteller on YouTube. If you follow his videos, you don't know when you're at the end already. It's that interesting. The map animations and all of that. So I I said, okay, why not try my hand at something like this? Since I already love reading and following political stories, that was how I got into this niche. But before then, I used to create on YouTube before. That was as far back as 2016. I started a YouTube channel along with my friends. But funny enough, we were not making anything related to Nigeria. So the videos we're doing most of the time was more or less compilation videos. So you see videos that coincided with the period of Trump's first election into the White House as president. That was 2016. So there is this Trump versus Hillary Clinton stuff. So we made a lot of videos about these guys, and then I started paying close attention to politics, how the foreign policy of the United States in particular affect most countries, especially countries in Africa, and what those foreign policies are, how they influence our leadership choices and make us believe that we are voting in free and fair elections. Yeah, so I follow all of these stories, and it's quite interesting to me. Each time I dig deeper, I try to read more. I start finding things that show that the movies you watch, they are somehow true. You start to compare what you're seeing in the movie with what is happening in your country, and you begin to see the connecting dots, stuff like that. So I kept following geopolitics like that. But then I spoke with a senior friend of mine one time, and he told me, why not the videos you make? It's already clear that you're good at what you do. Why not try to channel it to Nigeria? There are lots of stories to be told here. That conversation was, I think, in 2021, 2022, thereabout. So his name is Chris Ali. I don't know if you've heard of him. He's more in the crypto space. So we spoke about it. I was like, Nigeria politics is risky. I'm staying in Nigeria. He said I should try it. So I spoke with a friend of mine that was doing YouTube as well. And he said, why not give it a try and let's see how it goes. So I started making Nigerian related videos from there on, but they were slow at first. I wasn't getting the traction. You know, in Nigeria, we prefer to watch entertainment content like skits, comedy, stuff like that on YouTube.
Mm.
So the politics angle, I think the people doing it on scale at the time was I think Adela was a big channel at the time, and I
Big
watched a lot of
time,
her
big
videos.
time.
Yeah,
Mm.
she does this satire, and it's very interesting the way she goes into these topics and is able to make you understand the news and all that. But I advised myself immediately, I'm not funny, so I can't do the way she does hers. So I had to find a better way to tell the stories, and then I started watching more of Johnny Harris to see how I can make these stories entertaining. I think the first video that went viral for me was when I decided to tell my own story about my encounter with law enforcement in Nigeria. Maybe I should give you a little background to that. So, you know how I said I was doing YouTube before since 2016. At the
Yes.
time, 2016, I was in my final year doing microbiology in University of Agriculture, Makodi, in Benue State. So in that final year, when we discovered YouTube, we made a lot of money. I think 2017, 2018, made a lot of money from YouTube. Then we started small businesses. I think I started a restaurant first in my school. It was called Bela Kitchen. Then when I graduated, it was not doing that well since I wasn't there to look after the day-to-day running of it. So I opened a restaurant, Bella Mats in Makodi. So all of a sudden, I think after my wedding, I got married 2018. I left school 2016, 2017. I got married 2018. I bought a car for myself, bought some properties. You know, a young man just happened to be receiving YouTube dollars, So I was doing one or two investments like that. And all of a sudden, I think that was on was it 6th or 8th of March, 2019. I got a call in in the morning from a friend that works in a bank. I think my account manager. Then they told me that my accounts are frozen, and that in fact the first question was, have you had a fight with anyone of recent? Like, did you annoy anybody? I said no, I don't have a problem with anybody. And then they said I should think carefully because it's serious. So I said, what is the issue? So actually, anything I do, I shouldn't come to the bank. That the bank got an order to freeze all my accounts, and that if they see me, they will arrest me at the site. I said, "Oh, what happened?" And they said that's all they could tell me. So I just dropped the call with the person, and then I put a call through to my lawyer. I narrated the entire incident to the lawyer, and he said, "Okay, that whatever I do, I shouldn't go to the bank, but I should come to his office." So I went to his office. We talked. I He asked me if I had a record of everything I do. I said, "Yes, of course I do." I think that was a Friday. And in Nigeria, if you go to law enforcement, you have anything in law enforcement weekend, they're going to lock you up in the following week. So he said
Same
that,
thing, same thing, same thing.
wow, wow, we are really
Oh,
cousins.
I keep on telling you, by the way, before you continue, Kenya and Nigeria, we are cousins, and we're about to get into the similarities. Here in Kenya, if you're locked up on Friday, you will be released on Monday. That's how it is.
Wow. So he told me that anything I do, I shouldn't go close to them. I should just stop. I told you I was bullying. I was very angry because this seemed like intimidation, and I don't like bullying. So I told him I was going to go to the office. He said no. I got angry. I left his place. Then I looked for another lawyer that would support what I wanted to do. I had made up my mind that I was going to confront them. So luckily for me, I found a friend who took me to another lawyer who specializes in financial related issues. And so she she listened to everything I had to say. I went to my AdSense. I printed out all my payment slip, all the payments I've gotten from Google. I printed everything, took it in a file to her, and then she went through and said, "Oh, she didn't know I was making a lot of money. that that there is nothing illegal with what I was doing." And so, first thing on Monday morning, that we would go to the office. I felt relieved, although the fact that I couldn't access my accounts was an issue for me. But then by Monday, I called the manager of um, my supermarket. I told him I didn't want to drive, so he would drive. Then we went to pick my lawyer. Then we drove to the EFCC's zonal head office in Makodi, Benue State. When we got there, I think the time was about 11 in the morning, thereabouts. this was 2019. We got to their office and we asked about the IPO in charge of my case. They didn't know anything about my case. We kept asking and asking and asking until we got to an office and he said, "Oh, you are Jude Bela." I said, "Yes." He said, "Ah, you get mine now." What happened? That I followed them. I said, "Yes." So they took us to their office. We sat down, welcomed us very well. Then the man was quite welcoming and he seemed different from the traditional way we see Nigerian police officers and all that. He is educated and we spoke about what I do. He asked me several questions. I answered all his questions and me, I was even volunteering information. Foolish me. I kept telling them everything about
Mm,
how I started, how much was coming
mm,
into my account. I opened
mm,
everything. There was nothing. I told them everything. My lawyer was just sitting down looking at me. She didn't say anything. And then when we talked, the time was getting to like 4 p.m. We were still talking and still answering questions. And then all of a sudden, he brought out a declaration of asset form that I should fill it. Then my lawyer said no, that I wasn't going to fill it, that I'm not a public officer, so I shouldn't fill any declaration of assets. They agreed and kept that aside. But then they brought out a statement form that I should put down my statements, that everything I had said to them, I should write it down, word for word. So I said, I've been talking for hours. How do you want me to start writing everything? And they said I should just write anything I remember. I should make sure I put down every information as best as I remember regarding what I do. So I wrote, and then I wrote, filled all the papers they brought for me. Then they said that they needed to go to my house to search. I said, "What are you searching for? I already told you everything." They said they had to go to my house to search, that I should just cooperate with them. So I went with
mm.
them. I When we got outside, as you go in, they collect your phones and everything. So they took all our phones and gadgets and all that. So when we were going, I thought they were going to give me back my phone. They said no, that I don't need my phone. Okay, so things started getting pretty tense for me. I followed them, and this was my first time in any police office or any law enforcement office. So it was pretty new to me, and so you can understand how tense I was.
Mm.
Then they said that they were going to search, that we should go into the car. I thought they would allow me to drive my car. They said no, that I was going to go with them in their vehicle. So they brought their boss, and all out of nowhere, I saw men with guns. Just me. There were like, I think, 4 or 5 officers with guns. And I'm talking of AK-47s, not pistol. So
Wow.
that's so that should go into the bus, a bus. And then there are other officers sat beside me. That the man said he wasn't going to put me in handcuffs because I came voluntarily. So I was wondering what is going on. Handcuffs from where to where? This was me coming to their office because I needed clarification on why they gave my bank's instruction to block my accounts. Meanwhile,
Yeah.
as I took myself there, they are now treating me like an arrested criminal. So we went to my house and they started searching. Before they searched, because of how they were already treating me, I decided to treat them like I actually knew some things about the law as well. So I told the IPO that before any of them step into my house, I'm going to search all of them to make sure they don't plant any evidence on me. He became agitated. Like he started saying things like, "Do you think I would do something like that? I'm an old officer of the law. You have no respect for me. You are disrespecting me. I would have put you on handcuffs." And I told him, "You want me to trust you, but you did not trust me. I told you everything I do, and you still insist to come and search my house. So why shouldn't I search you?" After he spoke and spoke, my lawyer was trying to calm me down. I said, no, they want to search me, so I will search them. So that sort of got them very angry, but I proceeded to search all the officers that were coming into my house to make sure they didn't have anything on them. Then I allowed them inside. They went through everything in my house, my bedroom, went through my wife's things, her undies, her clothes, under my bed. I didn't know what they were looking for. Um,
Mm.
when they were done, they packed all the documents I had, even my documents for my property, my car papers, everything. Then they gave me a paper to list out everything they had taken from the house. Took my laptop, then went into the car and drove back to the office. When we got to the office now, they brought a remand order that they had secured a remand order from the court to keep me in their holding cell. So I looked at my lawyer. She was looking back at me like, I don't know what to do. I had never been locked up before. This was my first experience. So I went into their holding cell. By this time, it was already pretty late, I think 6, 7 p.m. My wife was calling and crying. I told her, don't worry, nothing will happen. I don't have anything to hide, basically. So we'll stay here until the morning and then possibly we'll get released. Morning came and then my lawyer is telling me that she sent my brother that she was too tired from the day before, so she wouldn't be able to come on that day. I was angry. She sent somebody else to represent me. But it was on this second day that I got to realize that my lawyer also represents my bank.
Oh, okay.
So I was like, oh, nice. So the same law firm represents me and my bank. And the lawyer she sent from her firm to come and represent her on that day that she couldn't come was the lawyer that came the previous day to submit my bank statements and others to the EFCC. So I sat there like somebody that his case has already been decided. They kept asking questions upon questions. I think the motive was to try to get me to say I am into fraud. The head of the EFCC at the time, the head of that zone, the EFCC zone at that time in that particular place, his name was I think Johnson Babalola. I will never forget that name. Uh, I will never forget that name because of what he did to me. The IPO told me in confidence that he has found nothing from all his investigation. Everything has gone through. He has found nothing. That there's nothing tying me to any fraud whatsoever. So I asked them, is there a petition against me? The I think one of them said he can't tell me. And I was wondering why. Because if someone had written a petition against me, I should be aware. They didn't disclose that to me. They only gave me a file with my name on it for that I'm being charged with fraud and money laundering. So I asked them, where is your evidence against me for fraud and money laundering? They couldn't show me anything, only that the head of the zonal head just wanted me for fraud and money laundering. So they were looking to find anything to pin on me. Then we were there from, okay, after going in detail to explain everything to them about what I do, I also told them that I wasn't the only one doing YouTube. Because of course, if what I was thinking at the time was that if the police knows that YouTube pays people money by seeing other people doing YouTube and not just Jude Bela doing YouTube, they will at least release me knowing that this is a legitimate business that people do, right? Well, I was wrong.
Mm-hmm.
I was wrong. The zonal head of the EFCC was believing that YouTube, like Facebook, is fraud. I'm telling you, this happened in 2019, right? So people running the law enforcement of Nigeria, EFCC, Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, believe that YouTube and Facebook are fraud. That it's not possible to make money from it.
Wait, Jude, this is before you started doing all these political documentaries, and like this is before.
Yes.
So,
This was what motivated me more, that, okay, this is how you treat an average citizen. Meanwhile, the EFCC is designed to go after corruption, political um, um, affiliated people, and all that. So I decided to start making videos to show them the people they are supposed to go after, the real corruption. I started to start making videos about those people so that, because it seems they actually don't know who is corrupt, who is looting Nigerians' money. So this has it was a surreal experience for me. We were with them for, they went after my friends also. All the people I told them do YouTube as well. They arrested them. Two of my friends were in their final year. They had their final paper to write that week. They missed the exams. Their only crime
so,
was that they do YouTube. They
so,
paraded
what was
them
the
through
end goal?
school as criminals, went to their hostels in school to search their houses, arrested them from school, drove them in their buses out. People were looking at them as if they were criminals.
But so, what's the end goal at this point? Are they trying to make you admit wrongly of you being a fraudster? So they can siphon and squeeze money out of you. Like, what's the end goal?
I think they were looking for Yahoo boys. So I think they, and I want to believe that the EFCC has some sort of target for number of arrests they should make, because otherwise, I don't know why you are trying to insist that somebody is into crime when they are not. You have no evidence against them, but then they kept insisting and insisting and insisting. I was there from Monday till I think Thursday before we got released. As at Thursday, when we got released, they insist that we must be coming to sign their paper. There's this paper they keep, if you are released on bail, you should go to their office every time to go sign. That I couldn't travel, that anytime they need me, they will call me. So I told my lawyer, at this point, I had changed lawyers. I wasn't the first lawyer that advised me not to go. I went back to him this time. And, and I told him that I'm not a criminal and there's no way I'm going to let this slide. I felt my fundamental human rights was violated. So I told him I was going to sue. Everybody was saying, no, you can't go against the federal government and win. The EFCC is federal government, blah, blah, blah. So I insisted. My dad said, no, my dad is a clergy. He's a very peaceful
Uh,
man. He doesn't like problem at all. I told him, me, the problem that they have started, I was going to give it to them. So I sued them at the Federal High Court. I sued my banks, all the banks that I had accounts with, that submitted my statements. I sued all of them and we're demanding for damages of like 100 million. And then we're in court from March. After suing them, I refused going to their office to sign anything again. The matter was now before the court, so let the court decide. And the shocking thing is, they didn't charge me to court. Everything they were doing was just practical intimidation. They didn't take me to court. I was the one that took the case to court.
mm.
So through their investigation, everything they said they were going to find, blah, 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 they had nothing to take to court. So I took the matter to court and the judge heard it and she was like, this is ridiculous. One of the lawyers actually said in court that I had to prove to them that I was not into fraud because I was too young to be earning the kind of money I said I was earning. That the money that was coming into my account was too much for someone of my age. So the judge looked at him and was like, Are you, what are you saying? The judge told them that, isn't it in law, normally you are the one to prove that somebody committed a crime, not the other way around. I'm not supposed to be proving my innocence. They should be proving the crime. So the matter went on for 3 months. Between March and June, my accounts remained frozen. 3 solid months. I was living on borrowed funds. My lawyer was so kind, he had to rally around to get me funds and to keep my family going throughout the whole case. And then the most bizarre thing that happened during that period was someone trying to scam me, calling that they were from the EFCC and that they had heard about my case. And I needed to send them $5,000 for them to handle my case and unfreeze my accounts. So
Mm.
I told them that the case was in court. Um, the good thing was that I had my lawyer with me. Some of the conversations I was having, I made sure he was privy to those conversations. Sometimes I'll call him to relay the information to him. So I told them the matter was already in court and that whatever the court decides, I'm fine with it. I wasn't going to bribe anybody. I was not going to give anybody any money. If the case goes in my favor, good. If it doesn't, fine. So we went on until June before the judge decided the case in our favor. But then, now Nigeria, stories started going around that I defeated the EFCC in court and they gave me 75 million naira. Meanwhile,
Wow, wow.
what the court awarded was 5 million, and they hadn't paid. She awarded that against my two banks and the EFCC. They hadn't paid the sum. It was just 5 million they gave. But stories on the street was that I was given 75 million. And immediately my whole environment became unsafe for us. So I
Wow.
had to start looking for how to relocate my immediate family. My business that was shut down couldn't survive it. All my businesses, we had to close down literally everything. And we left the town. It was terrible. Then out of nowhere, they appealed the judgment and took the case to the appeal court. So we had to go through another round of spending.
Uh,
You know how court cases go. You have to
yeah.
print documents and reprint them. And so my lawyer was spending a lot of money and I had to be paying him back. So the case dragged on that is the appeal court case now dragged on from that 2019 until 2022.
Wow.
Yeah. So by the end of the case, the appeal court, they upheld the judgment of the High Court, but they reduced the judgment sum from the 5 million to I think 1.2 million. By this point, I had spent more than 4 5 million on this case. So my lawyer was angry. He said he wanted to go to Supreme Court, but where is the money? At this point, I was starting everything from scratch. Worst of all, when we got out of their holding cell, I discovered that my channel was taken down. That is the YouTube channel I was running at the time. It got
Mm.
taken down. So I don't know what happened. I don't know what I did, but I lost that channel. I can't remember the exact reason YouTube gave. So I had to start everything from scratch. And with that experience, I decided to go hard on on them. So
Wow.
yeah, that introduced me into Nigerian politics, law enforcement, corruption proper. So I think that is one experience I will always reflect on anytime I think about why I do what I do now. Yeah, it's an experience that I know shaped my decisions. So when I spoke to that friend of mine that advised me to talk about Nigeria, I already had a reason to, because I also shared this story with him, so he was aware of everything we went through. So yeah, that is
Hey
my
man,
background. Yeah.
that was a harrowing story. Wow, that was a really hard introduction to what you're doing right now. Like that wasn't a good inspiration. That was a kick in the ass, telling you you need to you need to start exposing the truths that people don't know about Nigeria. That was a really hard lesson. But
Yeah.
wow, bro, like but with all that, when I watch your videos and everything, for example, I was watching Power and Plunder yesterday. Actually, I finished the 2 hours 31 minutes video you did on Tinubu. It was amazing, and I realized one thing. I realized in all those videos, Jude, you really love Nigeria. Like, I can see the love and the passion that you have in your videos. I know this because if you watch my videos, if you watch my monologue, you can see that I'm also very passionate about Africa and Black people in general. So I know passion when I see passion. Now, when you do, like, for example, when you did Power and Plunder, and the Nigerians are watching, what feedback have you gotten from Nigerians? Are Nigerians receiving it positively? Are they learning? Are they appreciating your information? Or are they not paying attention? Are they responding negatively? Are they not getting it? Where are Nigerians when it comes to your Nigerian content?
Okay. Well, YouTube for me in the early phase was, I think, a means to, like, a career, like something I do, sort of a job, right? That was what it was before. But the more I dig into these stories, and more recently, I realized that this is more than just um, a career, like it's something that pays you. This is more than that, because
Mm.
to be honest with you, Nigerian politics niche, anybody doing it on YouTube will tell you the honest truth. It doesn't pay that well. You sometimes you spend money that you don't get back to produce these videos. I think, like, for the Power and Plunder, the entire thing is 16 episodes, and I think the shortest one was 30 plus minutes. The longest one is the Tinubu episode, that is like 2 hour 30 minutes or so. And if you are into video production, you know that video editing is quite expensive. In fact, my editor had to work morning to night every day to make sure we get those episodes
Mm.
ready on
Mm.
time. So it is pretty expensive to do. I'm saying this to say that the only reason why we're doing this thing and keeping it to the politics niche is because we want to see Nigeria that works. Otherwise, like I was advised by some EFCC officials that say there are better things that would have paid you better. They are not lying,
Yeah.
right? Entertainment pays better if you're getting good numbers, right? But politics, there are some brands we reach out to sponsor our videos, and they tell you that they don't want their brands associated with controversy or controversial content. I
Mm.
think I get that feedback a lot, because we're making videos about corruption, and then we're naming figures, we're naming highly placed political figures in the country that control policies and all that. So some of them explain to you quite politely that if they are to sponsor this video, they may get negative pushback. Do you understand?
Mm. Mm.
Policies can
Mm.
be pushed against them. They may unleash. You know how the country works. So
Yeah.
Local brands sometimes stay away from us. So we have to do this from the pocket. Sometimes we use goodwill donations from our supporters. And that is why I talk about my subscribers. Now, they are very, very loyal and good people. I must say, I appreciate my subscribers a lot because you can go to that Tinubu's episode, 2 hour 30 minutes, and we're getting over 1 hour 20 to 1 hour 30 minutes of watch time in that video.
Wow.
Yeah,
Mm.
I think let me check real quick. The video is around it's around
Wow.
200 and is it over 200,000 views by now.
Yeah, bro, let me tell you something. I watch the whole thing, and I rarely watch videos that long, especially on YouTube. Like when it comes
Yeah,
to 2 hours plus, I watch movies 2 hours plus, no problem. But YouTube, oh my, that was very
my
gripping.
my editor said this was the last time he was going to do that sort of long video. I told him there was nothing I could do, and he's even lucky that this is just the first time because the story of Tinubu is just so intriguing. I looked for things I could cut. I didn't see anything I want to cut from that story, right?
Mm.
And my subscribers watch. It's 246,000 views now, and most of them are watching till the end. Then when you read the comments, there are some people that didn't know these things happen, right? So sometimes the positive takeaway from me from these videos is that I'm really doing something for Nigerians, even if they don't know it yet. The target audience is not my father's generation anymore. They already lost it. And it's like my generation is also losing it now because we've not taken any action from everything we know so far. So my target audience is the people in school now. They need to learn their history, right? When I was in school, I was told that is it Mungo Park discovered River Benue or something, or which river? I don't know. You understand? So
Uh,
the
uh,
story they told me is that Lord Lugard was the colonial founder of Nigeria. He was a good leader that we had to let his wife or his girlfriend name our country, and that there were good benefits of colonialism that gave us education.
mm,
They gave us Christian names, They introduced us to our God that we worship, who, if without this colonialism, we would all be going to hell, you know? So
mhm.
that was the history I was taught in school, right? Nobody told me why Tafawa Balewa was killed. Nobody told me why the coup happened. They only told us that some Igbo officers staged the coup to remove, yeah, an Hausa prime minister. We didn't know that it wasn't an Igbo coup. Nobody told us that, right?
Mm.
So I think the whole essence of what I am doing now is to create this awakening, this info revolution, if I may call it that, so that people get to have access to information that they would otherwise never learn from school or from their parents, because even their parents don't know. Trust me, some of the things I talked about in Power and Plunder, my dad had never heard them. In fact, there was one moment that gave me reason to smile, really, when I made a video. I think that was back in 2023, after Tinubu became Nigerian president, um, and he removed the fuel subsidy. I made that video on my birthday and I released it. I think in the evening, my father called me and he said he just watched my video on YouTube and that, how did you know all of these things? That, wow, I didn't know that these things are happening in Nigeria. My father.
Mm.
So I was like, wow. So I could educate my father about my country. I was all I was all smiles that day, and so I got to realize that the the deliberate lack of knowledge of history in Nigeria is it's keeping us the way we are. That is one. Then the people that should solve the issue of education and maybe teach us history so that we have some sort of connection to the country we are from. They don't even want that because when you look through the history, these are not heroes past. We don't have heroes past. We only have people that have looted the country and then out of greed, they don't want to lose power and relevance. So I think
Mm.
what we have right now on the channel is is doing something good for the country and the audience right now they appreciate it. And when I get it wrong, you need to read the comments. They they are always pointing me to the places I got the names wrong or the pictures wrong. They just want the stories to be accurate. So I think my subscribers are not just casual viewers, they are active and they try to make sure that what I'm putting out is also accurate. So we've had to do some retractions when we knew that okay, this is wrong, this is not correct. The perspective is wrong. Maybe you understand what I'm saying now into media. So we had to drop some comments to apologize for some places we got the images wrong and all that. So I really appreciate them for that, and I know that with time, um, people will wake up when they watch these videos. They will wake up and realize what is being done to the country.
Well, when you talk to Nigerians generally, are they appreciating? Are you seeing the difference between between you not starting the channel and you starting the channel and pushing all this vital information? Are they, because I talked to David Hunde and he was telling me that your Nigerians really don't get him, you know when he
Yeah,
when he
yeah.
yeah,
You
go
know,
on.
there's this thing with Nigeria where everybody wants to believe you are wrong until they can no longer prove you wrong. Then they get on your side. You understand what I mean?
Whoa,
You,
repeat
you're
that, repeat that, repeat that.
okay. There is this thing with Nigerians where everybody tell you you are wrong
Hmm.
until they can no longer prove you wrong. Then they start hailing you.
Hmm.
That is what David has been a victim of repeatedly, right? There is this Pella guy that during his wedding or marriage, whatever, that there are pictures of some white guys that came and David said that these are CIA, you understand? These are CIA
Yeah,
handlers.
yeah.
And everybody was like, everything CIA, you're always CIA. And guess what? They are now gently drawing the conclusions themselves. So it happens a lot.
Um,
It happens a lot. They are, I, for me, I think everybody is entitled to their opinion. I grew up with this idea of, sorry, I'm going to use foul language. I hope it's allowed.
no problem. This is a
I
free.
grew up
You
with
say
this, with
whatever you
this,
want.
I grew up with this idea that opinion is like an asshole and everybody is entitled to one. So everyone is allowed to have an asshole. So go ahead, have your opinion, share it. And again, it's my work I put out there. So if somebody has an opinion about my work, I don't try to argue with them if I know that what I'm saying is correct. And again, I do a lot of research and fact checking. Fact checking is something I don't play with at all because if we get these facts wrong, I know that the lawsuits will be a lot and I don't have money to defend it. So I try to be accurate as much as possible. And then I provide sources. Yeah. So if
Mm.
my source says something and a random Joe on the internet is saying that, hey, you are this, you are lying. And again, some of the videos, if you go to the earlier videos from 1960, the time when I was talking about the the first schools, some people said I was Igbo, so I was supporting Igbo, right? Then you move along to the civil war side when I gave the account of what happened based on the sources I used. Some then said I was Hausa because I was not supporting Igbo anymore. Then you come to the time of Obasanjo and stuff. I will say some things in the video, and then they say, "Hey, you are defending Yoruba. You are Yoruba." Then I'll make another video, and then they say you hate the Yoruba. You are from the southeast. You are IPOB. So I have been called different. So in fact, I told one of them that I am a Nigerian. You can place me in any tribe, and I will accept. I won't be offended. Do you understand? So
Yeah.
it happens a lot. It happens a lot. But in the side of whether or not they appreciate what I'm doing, I don't think I care that much about that. Um, the most important thing to me is that these videos are made and they are out there. Nobody is going to delete them. As long as YouTube don't take the channel down, the videos are going to be there and they're going to be helpful for generations to come. In fact, yesterday I came across something that humbled me. Somebody made a post and tagged me to it on X. Um, that there's a lecturer in his school that insists his students must watch Power and Plunder as well as some David's investigative pieces to understand Nigeria. So
Wow.
in their exams, the lecturer asked them to discuss something regarding to David's work and Jude Bela's work. And I was like, wow, this is interesting because if we are having lecturers in social sciences that should teach these students history of their country and they are picking interest in the actual history of the country and pointing the students to where to learn this history. It doesn't matter if the video is on my channel or on anybody's channel. As long as we have lecturers in school that are taking history seriously, then we have hope, right? We have some level of
Mm.
hope,
Yes.
right?
Oh,
So that's
that's
that that is what I believe. Yeah. And recently I discovered that some people are inspired by what I do and they are starting their own channel and talking about these things. So if the question is whether there is a positive from when I started to now, I think there is. I think there is. More Nigerians are
the
waking up, even if they are doing this because they want to earn money from YouTube, at least they are now conscious, right? That's the first step. That's the first step. And I believe when this consciousness grows in a lot more people, we will have leaders that will want to lead something. The first step is consciousness, and that's what we are building. We are getting more people involved. I don't want to be the only one that make political documentary stories from Nigeria. No, I want us to be plenty. I want to have a lot of us on YouTube talking about these things because you know why skit making and comedy is so rampant in the country? Because people believe that's what pays.
mm,
They believe
mm.
that's what pays. If you want to make money, be like Bella. Just put your camera, talk about anything but the important issues. Now, imagine the reverse happens. If we have 1,000 YouTube channels discussing these things happening in the country, and they are not just discussing them, they are profiling solutions, and their audiences are taking it seriously. Give it some years, give it 4, 5, 10 years, right? So I think that consciousness is a big positive takeaway from when I started versus now, because at the time we had very few channels, right? But now there are more people talking about these things. There are more people saying that okay, we need to change. It's just the parts where I would have loved for us to talk more on is what do we do, right? How do we do it? not just consuming these things as entertainment, because it serves me no purpose if people just watch these videos, like, comment, and then drop their phone and go to sleep. If anything happens to Jude Bela tomorrow, right, the information is nothing if you just
Yeah.
watch it as entertainment,
Yeah.
right? And for every day I stay in this country, I'm scared for my life, right? Every day I stay in this country, I'm scared for my life. I've had threats. I've had people call me. I think yesterday I was telling you about somebody that walked up to me in a restaurant, and he said he was just coming to Abuja from Lagos and told me to be very careful, especially about my episode on Passenger.
Mm.
That's just one.
Oh.
That's just one. And then there was a time I was out, I think in a park, and one told me that he just walked up to me, a random figure, that so you stay in Nigeria, that you should be careful. You even get mine, they come park. Just that
Mm.
you have the gods going to parks in Nigeria and you're doing what you do, so be careful. So my friends, they are always very skeptical about what I do. But what I keep telling them is that there is no information I'm putting out that originated from me. These things are there if people want to see them. They are there. I'm only making it easier for them to see. So if you go through
Mm.
the sources in my description, you will see everything I said is documented. The Tinubu's case, the document I used was from the court. It was a court document. Everything said about him and his wife and his business partners were from the court. Except you are saying that the American courts or justice system decide to lie against him. It's a court document. And the same thing with all the. Okay, I made an episode one time about all the Nigerian lawmakers that had issues with fraud. There were more than,
Mhm.
I think, 5 to 10 of them, including the Senate president, that was investigated by the EFCC for fraud. All of them. And we got a lot of threats and threats and threats. My lawyer said I should take the video down. And the case was that since they were not convicted of fraud, we couldn't say anything about them. And so
Mm.
this is not a Jude Bela thing. There are videos that your traditional news stations cannot publish. And their reason they give is quite simple. Like example, if you're talking about the judiciary in Nigeria is the most corrupt. I'm telling you, it's a fact. It is the most corrupt. The justice system, you can't even compare them to politicians. They are worse, right? Now, you make a video naming particular judges that are corrupt, and then all of a sudden, the police picks you and they charge you to court. Who is going to hear your case? It is the corrupt judge. You just made a video against them. So your case, you are dead. They are not going to care whether what you said is true or not. And so I believe for a fact that uh, the closer we get to these people, the more we do this thing. We are living on borrowed time. If nothing happens, if no change happens. But for me, the time that I have to do what I do now, I will continue to make sure that even when I'm no longer here, that these videos will be helpful to the future generation. It's the only hope I can take away from this thing.
Wow. You know what? What an introduction. I never knew that you go through this and that you've gone through all that, all those trials and tribulations to where you are right now. But I want to tell you something, Jude. Please don't give up. Don't give up. Please keep on. I mean, you inspired a guy like me. I mean, you know, people tell me, people text me from all over the world telling me that I'm a Pan-Africanist because of you, and that's when you know that what you're doing is not just
Yeah.
like what you. So Jude, you inspired me. You know, a guy in East Africa, in Kenya, when I was starting my channel, you were one of the channels that I was watching, trying to learn. But I learned a lot from. I'm still learning a lot from your channel, and man, you're doing the work. But I didn't know that this man has gone through so much trials and tribulations. Man. You have gone through so much. But
But it's nothing compared to what others are going through. I'm telling you, there are journalists doing a lot to make sure that Nigerians are informed. And I like the resilience in the Nigerian media space. I think with some of the journalists, they do a whole
mm,
lot. Even getting arrested, they come out, they continue, and then they get arrested again. It's quite encouraging to work in these cycles. So yeah.
man, wow, wow. Well, now let's get into the meat and potatoes, which is Nigeria politics. Elections are around the corner. There's Atiku Abubakar, there's Peter Obi, and then of course there's many others. And then there's Tinubu, the president, who wants to retain his seat. Now, as a Nigerian who knows what's happening on the ground, who knows the mood on the ground, what's happening? Are people for Atiku Abubakar? Are people obedient, or are they saying that, you know what? Let's give Tinubu another 4 years. What's the mood? What's the mood right now politically on the ground?
Hmm. You want to get me in trouble.
No, just speak your mind.
Okay. Well, nobody. Okay, the short answer to that: nobody is saying they should give Tinubu 4 more years. In fact, some some APC people that I have talked to, that is his own party, the All Progressive Congress, that I've spoken with, um, if they want to be honest, they tell you that they know some of the things can be better, but they are sometimes adamant that his politics or his policies, that there was no choice, no other option available, so he had to make the tough decisions and all that. But they also agree that the country is more difficult for everyone, that insecurity has gotten worse, and that he could have done some things differently. So on that, I believe Nigerians are united that Tinubu has done worse than Buhari. And I didn't believe that I would ever say these words out loud, that somebody can be worse than Buhari. So Nigerians are united in that Tinubu has done terribly. But on whether he is going to lose the election come January, hmm, the answer to that is no. I think Tinubu already won this election, or he is already going to be sworn in because he didn't even win the first one. He is going to be sworn in come May next year because of the things he had put in place to make sure that happens. First, you need to see the structure of the APC, the ruling party. The time that Nigerians had, or the opportunity we had to make sure APC leaves power or left power, was 2023, when the outgoing president at the time, Buhari, was not so interested in getting Tinubu elected president, right? In fact, his party was doing a lot to frustrate him during the
Mm,
2023 election. The Naira crisis and all that made life so difficult for Nigerians in election season, so much so that people wanted to vote out the APC, and they did, right? Imagine a sitting president making policies that would ensure his party lose in that election. That was what Buhari
mm,
did basically. The Naira redesign policy, That was brainless. That was senseless. It made life so difficult for people. People died, right? His own states were suing him. That is, APC controlled states were suing, right? So
Hmm.
I felt sometimes when I
Wow.
think around this, I felt Buhari did everything to make sure Tinubu lose, right? But then we didn't defend our votes. And then we allowed Tinubu into power. So now he controls everything from INEC to the judiciary, the legislative branch, all of them. In fact, okay, now, as a country, every country has national anthem, right? I think it is now well established. If you are even in primary school, you should know that a country has a national anthem, right? That you sing when your president comes up, right? If the
Yeah.
president of the
Yeah.
United States, for example, comes to an event, it is the national anthem of the United States that they sing, right?
Yes.
I believe it's same thing in Kenya. When Ruto attends an event, you sing the Kenyan national anthem, right?
Yes. Yes.
It's supposed to be the normal way everywhere, right? It
Absolutely. Yeah.
doesn't happen
Everywhere.
like it doesn't happen like that in Nigeria.
Why?
Because Tinubu has an anthem, why should you be singing Nigerian national anthem?
What do you mean Tinubu was an anthem? There's a specific song for him.
Yes.
So,
You
so
didn't
that's what
know
people sing the anthem.
the National Assembly, that is the Nigerian National Assembly, where they pass laws about Nigeria.
Uh-huh.
Anytime, anytime Tinubu visits there, they don't sing the national anthem. When he's coming up, they don't sing the Nigerian national anthem. They sing on your mandate we shall stand.
On your mandate we shall stand. What?
hmm hmm that's Tinubu's anthem. So they sing
Uh,
it to welcome him. I'm telling you
uh,
about an equal branch of government, the legislative branch, which is equal to the executive. Not the in democracy, it is equal, right? I hope I'm not making these things up.
yes, yes, yes.
Uh-huh.
Hmm.
So the executive branch and the legislative branch are on equal footing here. Yeah. But anytime
Yeah.
one of them, which is the executive, comes to the legislative branch, maybe to defend his budget or to present budget or something, whatever, they sing praising him. That is his equals sing to praise him. So basically, Tinubu is king. Tinubu is king. Not even King Charles has that much power in the United Kingdom.
Man. Ugh.
King Charles, his family owns the United Kingdom. He doesn't have that much power over the UK that Tinubu has in Nigeria. And now, before the 2027 election, APC controls 31 of the 36 states.
That's
So
almost wow.
that's everything
So
now. That's everything.
that's everything. It's only remaining 5 states, right?
Mhm.
Wow.
And then if you go to these states where the APC controls, you as an opposing party, you can't do any event. You can't do anything. You can't organize. They will frustrate you. There is so how do you unseat such how do you unseat such a politician? He has his tentacles everywhere, right? He and
Wow.
then if you talk about the law enforcement, he pays them, right? How do they get their salary? So there is no independence. The other day, before the Osun State election, the EFCC said they had frozen the Osun State's accounts, right? And then
Mm-hmm.
the commotion everywhere is that okay, EFCC are trying to frustrate this. This is the APC's handwork. They are trying to take over. They are trying to make sure the opposition party loses the election. Blah blah blah. And so Tinubu instructs the EFCC chairman to unfreeze the accounts. This
Mm.
is an this is supposed to this is supposed to be an independent body. And then
Yeah.
they go ahead to unfreeze the accounts. So tell me how independent they are. If the president can just simply call, hey, unfreeze the accounts. If you are telling me that the president can unfreeze the account through a phone call, that means he can also tell them to freeze the account. So where is the separation of powers? Then you're telling me the the election next year, he doesn't plan to lose. He doesn't plan to lose. Now look at what they did. The 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 in the FCT we don't have governor. The FCT serves like a state of its own as well, but it's not a governor. It's a minister appointed by the president that runs the FCT. So when they got into power, they sort of built houses and gave to judges.
Hmm.
That's as gifts.
You give to judges.
So
That's bribery. That's bribery.
well, bribery is not a word that exists in Nigeria anymore. It's gifts. They built houses, millions of naira, and gave them as gifts to those judges. Then, if every Nigerian election is usually decided in courts. So, when your case is before a judge that got a house gift, who do you think is going to win?
Of course.
Who do
The
you think is
person,
going to
the person who gave the judge the gift.
So, the
Yeah.
structure is in place. The structure is in place. It's not like I'm saying Nigerians shouldn't vote. Of course, these things can change, right? You can make this election so unriggable. Do you understand? Like you can make sure the popular vote has like maybe your candidate is having like 50 million votes and Tinubu is having like 3 million votes. So he will have it's become almost impossible, right? Except
Mm.
scenarios like that. And then you make sure that the people coming to conduct the election, you don't give them any chance at all to change anything. Except that I saw a video, I think, was it last night or 2 nights ago? Someone was saying that to the NYSC, that's National Youth Service Corps members in Nigeria, they help to conduct elections. So he was saying that to the NYSC members, if you come and you're telling us that you don't have the password to upload the election, we'll beat you. It was so funny. And
Wow.
I was telling my wife that this is the only way you stop the rigging. The people should be ready to put their skin in the game. Otherwise, these people already won the election. And I don't like to use that word win because it will seem like they actually conducted a free and fair election and they won. No, they don't care about the figures appearing in your paper, right? Because they know at the end of the day, Nigerians are very meek, very docile. So they'll tell you that this is the person that win and their word is law. So you are not able to do anything about it. And then I think the opposition is also making it very easy for Tinubu to retain power, right? You
Mm.
look at Atiku Abubakar, that is now a perennial presidential candidate. He runs and runs and runs and never gets tired of running, even though he has never won. He keeps running. He doesn't care whether the country works or not. He just wants to be president. So when you have men like that with that sort of greed, how do you build a political environment where values mean anything, right? So you have Peter Obi running in the opposition, you have Atiku Abubakar running in the opposition, and I learned the governor of Oyo State, Makinde, who is said to be one of the performing governors, is also running now in the opposition. So we have three opposition against Tinubu that is already in charge. and in control of all the state machinery. How do you defeat him when your votes are already splitted several ways? So the opposition don't want to unite and think about the country first. That is a big problem for us. If we are not able to come together and think of a way to get him out of power first, then I think we are lost. We are lost. They tried to form some sort of coalition, but it fell apart because Tinubu, in as much as we know he doesn't have the interest of the country at heart, he's a ruthless politician. He knows what he's doing. And
Mm.
I like to tell people that this man, he has been in this game since 1999. He has been calculating. That was not the first time he got into politics, anyways. I'm only saying that from 1999, he has a blueprint for what he wants to do. He has been calculating this, always playing the long game, right?
Mm.
And then you guys are just up and down. You don't even know what you want. Election is just few months from now. They don't have any united front. Okay, right now I'm not even hearing so much about Peter Obi's race anymore. So it's
Wow.
scary because as it
Wow.
is now, I pity the Nigerian voters because now they can't just vote anybody. You understand? We need a candidate to vote for, right? But then the candidates can't
Yeah.
even decide who they want to put in front of the voters. So what do you want Nigerians to do? Because again, this is democracy, right?
Mm.
And in a democracy like this, they need a candidate they can vote for. But then we have this arrangement that okay, let me say the truth is, this thing I'm going to say is going to be very controversial, but I'll say it anyways.
Mhm.
As long as we continue this 4 years festival of elections, nothing is going to change. Election to us here in Nigeria is a festival. Every 4 years, we join line, we vote for somebody, and then we go back home and wait for the next election cycle. Because we already know that this person we're voting in is not going to do anything, right? So
Mm.
the the more we continue to repeat the same old things, the more the same things we are going to see. Nothing is going to change. And I think the idea of democracy is meant for a highly educated society, population, right? The people need to have some level of education, right? To
Yes.
make informed choices. If educated citizens read policies and understand campaign promises, they vote better. But when you can come to a campaign ground and tell the people, uh, I am your brother, right? We are from
Mm.
the same village. You should vote for me. I'm your tribe. It is our turn. That is what a presidential candidate said in the last election. You are
Mm.
garnering support from the idea of tribe. Now, if you tell Nigerians what happened in Rwanda and try to educate them on how tribalism, bigotry can lead to serious problems for the country, they start calling you names. But there is history. There's history to show that where the line we're treading is very, very dangerous. Now, critical thinking is another very needed thing you need in your society to have a working democracy, right? People should be able to question their leaders, should be able to spot false information and not just take everything in as they are being given. You're not a machine, you're a human being. So if someone says something, you should be able to ask questions, right? When
Yes.
you have a population that is enlightened to that level that they can think and ask questions on their own, they can then be given the right to make the right decisions at the polling units, at the polling stations during elections for democracy. But we don't have that.
Mm.
We don't have that. Then, when you talk about democracy, they say it is a human right. Everybody should have the right to decide who rules over them. The question is, are these people deciding? Are they the one deciding? Now, let's look at Nigeria now, right? Examine the
Mm.
voting population carefully. Nigerian politicians right now, they are ensuring that the quality of education in the country drop every year. Schools are not funded. Okay, my mom was a primary school teacher. She taught in the primary school for 35 years, right?
Wow.
Yeah, she taught in primary school for 35 years in public primary school. So I know firsthand how public primary schools used to look. Now, in 2026, ask any Nigerian in your audience, ask any of them to visit any public primary school and take a snapshot and send to you. I'm telling you, anyone, be it in Lagos, Abuja, anyone, let them visit anyone, public primary school, and just snap the place and send to you. These schools are supposed
Mm.
to be funded by the government, right? That is how you keep education accessible to the average person. They are no longer funded. They either loot the money, they don't, the roofs are leaking. Was it January this year? I went to one public school in Benue State. That one had no roof at all. No roof. Not talk of desk in the classroom. The children, they sit on the floor. Sometimes they arrange stones to sit on.
Mm. Mm.
That
Mm.
is the learning condition. So
Ah.
education is no longer important to them. And then teachers are not paid. Some are underpaid. So they go home thinking whether what they are doing is even worth it. There are professors that question whether the years they have spent in school learning these things, whether it's even worth it at all.
Yeah.
That is education. And then there are people in authority that consider questioning them rebellion, right? So if you question something your state governor is doing, you are going to be prosecuted. So in such a society, you are raising fanatics. Fanaticism has taken over the society we have. And then we have lost the definition of basic values, right? So in Nigeria right now, right and wrong depends on how much you have.
Mm.
Do you understand?
Mm.
So you can
Mhm.
have a popular person who is very wealthy. He will do anything he likes. And then when you try to point out that, hey, what this person is doing is not correct, they'll tell you, how much do you have? Do you have money? See, you want to correct rich man, Abi? That is the society we have. Do you understand? So now, in a society where right and wrong is determined by how much you are worth, you can't question your leaders because they'll call you rebellious and even throw up charges against you. Schools are not funded. Professionals are getting tired of practicing what they studied in school, including medical doctors. In places in a societies like this, democracy is not a good system of government because it becomes a weapon in the hands of powerful and rich elite. Because tell me now, if the wealthy politician can mobilize people and give them funds to go against his opponents, his enemies,
Mm.
do you think you stand a chance against him? When a politician can use money to buy votes, Do you think people care what he stands for? His values take backseats. Nobody cares about his values. Nobody cares what certificate he holds. Nobody cares whether he has even been to school. He has money. That's all that matters. And so when somebody flash money, they believe that this person is successful because he has money and money justifies whatever else. So he has the right to do anything. He knows how to make money. He has money. So whatever idea you think you have, do you have money? If you don't have money, nobody will listen to you, right?
Mm. Yeah.
So all they do is when such a person does something terrible, they they mobilize their fans. Now that's why I'm saying it's now fanaticism. Yeah, do one or two giveaways, right? And then you have a mob behind them that is ready to tear you down if you criticize them. And then they build a cult-like following, and they can never be wrong. So in a society like that, issue-based politics takes the backseat. People no longer vote based on the issue or values. It's now a cult, and each cult must
Mm.
defend their color, right?
Wow.
So
Wow.
that's what it
You
is.
know, I saw the cost of living in Nigeria has shot up ever since Tinubu became president. The cost of fuel has skyrocketed, um, and then the currency is also suffering. The currency is also doing bad as well. And with all that, with all those factors in a Tinubu presidency, it's very, very sad that there are some people who will wake up in the morning on election day to put a tick or whatever fingerprint on Bola Ahmed Tinubu's name. What do you tell to like what do you tell such people? What do you tell such people?
Well, quite frankly, I don't know what to say to them because they are not even going to listen, right? I had a conversation with one of such people, and all he was telling me was how politics is a game and the best strategist wins, and that Tinubu is the best strategist he has ever seen. So he's going to vote for Tinubu. It doesn't matter what I say, he's going to vote for Tinubu. So we have people that think the leadership of a country is like Arsenal, Chelsea, like football. I am an Arsenal fan, so I will always support Arsenal no matter what. You are a Chelsea fan, so you should always support Chelsea no matter what. That is how politics is in Nigeria. So a Tinubu fan, there is nothing you are going to tell. And I use the word fan because that is what it is. It is fandom. It is fun. These are fans. These politicians, they are called heroes now. That's what they have built themselves up to be. They are celebrities. They are not leaders. These are not leaders. These are not public officials anymore. They are not public servants. They are
Mm.
they are they are the court heroes, the court leaders. And each court, like I said, must defend their colors. So their followers, they don't care anything you have to say. If Nigerians wake up and see Tinubu on the road eating baby, they will still vote for him. His followers will still vote for him. Do you understand what I'm
Wow.
saying? So
Wow.
it's not like you showed them enough and then they say, did this happen? No, they know that it happened. So the information doesn't even do much anymore. People are suffering and still willing to vote. Like people are able the crazy thing about some of the Nigerian voters is that they are able to separate their suffering from the decisions of their leaders. Do
Mm.
you, You get the picture? Somebody can go to the market today and realize that they can no longer afford a crate of egg, but they are able to separate that from the decisions Tinubu made. They will rather blame the farmer or the market woman selling eggs at a particular price. That is what we have right now. So the decision, in fact, the only way is to try to teach them that there are consequences to decisions. And I don't know how to teach an adult that, because there was a time my baby, my first daughter, when I think she was 1 or 2, so she was playing with candlelight. The mom kept telling her, "Don't! It's going to burn your hand. Don't! It's going to burn your hand." She was struggling. She wants to touch the candle light.
Mm.
So I told the mom, "Leave her. Let her touch it." So just the mom said, "No, that what do you mean? How will you allow? She's just a baby." I said, "Yes, I know she's a baby, but this lesson she wants to learn now, it will stick. She will never forget it." So I allowed her. Her hand just glazed over the candle and she realized how hot it was. Till today, if she sees candle, she goes the other way. Right?
Mm.
But that is a
Lesson
child.
learned.
Lesson
Mm.
learned. But an adult in Nigeria, oh God, you have seen this is not, it's not like this man dropped out of nowhere. He has been in power before. You have seen the track record. People are telling you this is what he is. He's not even denying it. He's not denying it. He's not making any effort at all to show you that, no, I'm different. No. But then you are going ahead to vote for him. How do you make such a person understand that there are consequences? Ask Nigerians now, who was the most terrible president we've had? People will point at Buhari, right? Because he had 2 times, he served for 2 times, and then he destroyed the country 2 times, right?
Mm.
And I was talking to my video editor, and we're just joking around it, and he said that this man, all the policies he brought during his first time as military head of state were the exact thing he repeated as democratically elected president. 1983 and
Wow.
then 2015. He didn't learn anything new, right? People are going to point at Buhari. Some are going to point at Abacha. But these are emotional arguments. Emotional
Mm.
arguments. No facts whatsoever backing that up. The one single human being that ruined this country the most is still alive. IBB, Ibrahim Babangida.
Uh, you know what? You know what? You know what? It's like you read my mind. It's like you read my mind. Because that was my next
Okay,
question.
okay.
That was my next question. Now, who is the? Because I asked David this, and
Mhm.
it's very funny you've arrived to that conclusion. Because I asked David, who is the worst and best president according to you in Nigeria? He said the worst is Ibrahim Babangida. Let me tell
Oh,
you. Let me tell you. The comments went crazy, and I've done two interviews with him. That was the first one where he's wearing the Ghana shirt. The
oh.
comments went crazy. I'm telling you, people were saying, "How can he say it's Babangida? It has to be Tinubu. It has to be Buhari. It has to be." Many people were saying Tinubu and Buhari. That's where people were. But very few people were agreeing with him by saying it's IBB. Now, according to you, do you really think that Ibrahim Babangida is the worst president of all time in Nigeria, and why?
This when I was doing Power and Plunder, I told people, because people were asking me this question on X, I told them I was not going to bring my opinion in until the series was over. Um, some thought I was going to pick Abacha because of course, the Abacha loot and blah blah blah. Yeah.
Yes.
Um, Abacha loots is a very interesting topic because I covered it in depth and I saw a lot of things that the family did, terrible things. And then the human rights violations and all that. But but when you look at the economic side of things, also I like to tell people to try and watch videos objectively, right? Watch to the end, listen to what the person is saying, and not just emotional arguments and blah blah blah. Abacha built roads. Abacha created what's it called now? This petroleum is it petroleum trust fund or something? And the money were used to develop the country. So there were savings, right, from Nigerian crude oil sales that went into the development of the country. And yes, the country was facing lots of sanctions from America and their allies at the time. So there were lots of ways they tried to bypass those sanctions, but that is not to excuse Abacha loot. Yes, Abacha loot happened. People returned money, and that was how I was sure that yes, some loot happened. Although the figure I can't put a pin on it because whatever is being reported now has some form of thought added to it here and there. People run with stories, and we have problem with numbers in this side of the world. So yeah, but Abachalu did happen. However, when you talk about deliberate destruction of this country, you need to watch my IBB episode. I don't know if people paid attention closely toward the end. Um, you know what 12 is it $12 billion? You know what $12 billion mean? 12 billion
Wow.
that is unaccounted for. Hmm?
Whoa, 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 wait. 12 billion, wait, 12 billion nairas or 12 billion dollars, US dollars?
Who is talking about naira? Dollars. I'm not saying, see, like I told you, I'm in Nigeria, so I have to be very careful. But ask anybody, it was from the time of IBB that doctors started leaving Nigeria. This Jakpa you hear of, it started from the time of IBB. You can quote me
Uh,
anywhere, do your research.
Japan. Yes. Oh, it was on IB. Oh.
Mhm. And I know Nigerians, some of them will come for me, but you can do your research and check. It started under IBB. The country worked so well until IBB. Things, yes, things have never been perfect since the history of Nigeria. There were always trouble here and there, blah, blah, blah. But as soon as it came with the structural adjustment programs, in fact, even the CIA praised him that they didn't know that if any other person had done it any other way, that there would have been revolt and a coup to remove him from power. That he was so smart the way he executed it. The CIA said this thing I just said.
Wow.
Do you understand?
Wow.
They were full of praises for the way he did it. That is the way he enacted the structural adjustment program. He made it like it was the decision of Nigerians. So when people call him the Maradona, the blah blah blah, and then they hail him, Nigerians don't know what they are doing. It's just emotions and emotions, not willing to pay attention to the facts of the case. He introduced the programs that destroyed the Nigerian economy. The 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 subsidies that were removed, the okay, the collapse of our education system, of our hospitals, it all started under him. But because we are not able to connect one and two, we believe that it's either Buhari or Tinubu that just came yesterday. Tinubu is just carrying on from what Buhari did now. Tinubu has not even done anything yet. Let them wait until the second time.
Mm.
Tinubu has not done anything yet. Now, I don't want to quote wrong figures, but from the summary given from how some monies were spent, yeah, just go through that video. You see that a certain amount, is it $9,000 or $9 million? I can't be very sure, but nine, something either thousand or million, was spent on television in the presidential palace.
Whoa, come on. Come
Mhm.
on. Come on, Jude.
So
On
it,
televisions.
I wish I could just go through the documents and show you some things. See, don't get me started.
No, go on,
Anybody that
please.
wants,
Go on,
if
please. Oh my
if
God.
if you want to, if you really want to know about the the worst president we've had, please pay attention to IBB's presidential term. He okay, the whole Abiola episode, right?
Mm-hmm.
Everybody knew Abiola was never going to be allowed to be president. Do you understand?
Mm-hmm.
He knew Abiola was never going to be allowed to be president of the country, but he allowed the elections go ahead anyway. Do you understand? So this this man orchestrated for the gang. There was one gang. I'm trying to pull up his episode to show you something. There was one group that started campaigning for him to remain in power. Do you know
Mm-hmm.
he sponsored them?
Oh, really?
Yes, he sponsored them. So this is a guy that he just wanted to remain in power indefinitely. Um, hi. I'm trying to be very careful. There was a podcast I was on, and
Mm-hmm.
I said some things, and when the episode was sent to me, I forwarded it to my lawyer, and when he went through, he said, "Jude, no, 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 that he cannot defend this." I said, "But there are documents." He said it wasn't proven in court. So everything from it, it's extraordinary. And the thing is, Abiy wanted to come back as president. That's during
Yes.
democracy. That
Uh-huh.
was one of the reasons why we had Obasanjo. It's sort of like a deal. Obasanjo was supposed to step down, right? Abiy was supposed to come back as Nigeria's democratically elected president. I think in 2003, but
Mm.
it didn't work out. So you will see I think from that period when Obasanjo was running for second term, there was a split between Obasanjo and IBB. Then IBB started saying a lot of things about Obasanjo from then on.
Mm.
Otherwise, he was one of the architects of the Obasanjo coming to be president, from everything I could gather when researching for my video on this. So this man, okay, how about the coups, right? How about the coups that he was involved in? He brought in Buhari and then removed Buhari. Um, and most of the reasons for the coups that were carried out during his time were not particularly to save the country from the economic crisis. It was that this person is now going off script. You know, we brought you to power, and then you are trying to deviate from the original plan. Then they strike. 12.2 billion. That's the figure.
You mean from, oh, wow.
So the
12.2
total
billion.
fund, yeah, the total fund that flowed through the special accounts created was $12.4 billion. And out of that, 12.2 was spent, and nobody knows where the money went.
That's during Babangida's presidency. Now, my question is this: where did he keep all this money? Is it in
But they have
Nigerian bank or
no,
outside?
no. They don't keep those monies in Nigeria. That's the funny thing. The Americans, they say that and I like how American system works, right? It's developed, it's the justice system, everything is cool, and they are they are they do things the right way, they follow the script and all that. And then they have this law that you can't just carry money into your country, especially if you are politically exposed person. That is, you are connected to a politician. Maybe your father is a politician, your wife is a politician, or you yourself a politician. So you can't just bring money into the country. They are going to scrutinize you a lot, right? But then all of these political figures, yeah, they have accounts in the UK, in London. Some of them they have accounts in banks in New York City. And when I say they have accounts with money, I'm not talking about $1 million or $2 million. No, I'm not talking about thousands of dollars. No, they have money in billions, millions of dollars. You will go to these are public officials that their salaries. Their salaries are public information. But then they
Mm,
have different accounts. Some of them have accounts in the Cayman Islands, some of them have accounts in Liechtenstein, some in Switzerland. Switzerland that is present in every bad thing in the world here.
yeah.
So that is how they do it. And like again, I'm not accusing anybody of anything. Babangida, well, we just know that it was during his time that Nigeria took this $2.4 billion loan from the IMF with conditions that he was going to devalue the naira, he was going to scrap Nigerian subsidy programs, he was going to open Nigerian gates to foreign trade. These were the conditions attached to the loan, just 2.4
Mm,
billion. And then when he threw the debate to the nation, people said no. Nigerians said they didn't want Nigeria to take another loan. Nigerians refused. He was doing this sort of uh, openness. He was a democratic kind of dictator. He opened the conversation to the public so that people would think they were making the decision themselves. They said no, right? But then he said, okay, that if Nigerians were saying no, he was going to, do as Nigerians said. Guess
mm-hmm.
what?
What?
He went around, he went around and then introduced something that since we're not going to take loans again, he was introducing something to help the economy, and then he called it the structural adjustment program. Now, this structural adjustment program contains every single condition the public rejected. That is the devaluation, the subsidy cuts, and then there is the the magic word trade liberalization.
Uh,
And then at the time IBB came into power, 1 naira was worth more than the dollar. It would take you more dollar to buy a naira.
oh, really?
Yes,
Wow.
yes, you can do your research and check. By the time he left,
Wow.
I think the devaluation was so terrible that the naira lost. I think by the time he was leaving, it would take like 17 naira to buy $1. Okay,
Damn.
let me put this in perspective now. When Tinubu came into power, the naira was 400 naira to $1, and then he took it to like 1,600. Now we are back dancing around 1,400 naira to the dollar,
Yeah.
right? IBB took the naira from I think 0.56 naira to the dollar to 17 naira to the dollar.
17 times worse.
Mhm. I'm not making this thing up. In fact, the good thing is I was born in 1994. So IBB's time, his entire presidency was before I was born. So I couldn't have made these figures up. Everything is documented. Public knowledge. Public knowledge.
Now, Jude,
So
wait. Now, okay, go on. You want to roll? Go on.
no, continue. Go ahead. Go ahead.
No, I just wanted to ask you, man. Like, so you mean to tell me that other presidents after him, most have followed that same trajectory of corruption, of running the economy in a very careless, so to speak, careless way? Is that why people may be confused and they say, oh, maybe Tinubu and Buhari, those two are worse than Babangida? And you think that maybe people can't be able to trace back the foundation of the problem in Nigeria? You think maybe that's why they can't say that IBB is the worst?
Well, before IBB was Buhari, right? And I remember quite well that the loan that IBB took from the IMF, Buhari rejected it. In fact, he rejected it that the economy was crumbling. He knew he knew the repercussion. He knew what was going to happen, right? And
Mm-hmm.
through it all, he said no. He maintained the no. That was Buhari before IBB.
Mm-hmm.
Now,
Yeah.
from IBB, just check through Nigeria. After IBB, the only president who was not seeking and looking for loans was Abacha, sir.
Ah, really? Wow. I was telling,
Then
Jude, I was telling a Nigerian that, us Kenyans, we hear a lot of horror stories about Abacha.
mhm,
So, especially the Kensarowiwa story. Actually, that story, the Kensarowiwa story, really broke my heart when I read about it and when I watched documentaries about it. And
mhm.
so, but for me, I didn't, and till this day, I haven't looked at the economic contributions that he made to Nigeria. I did. All I know is that, this guy did ABCD to some people, including Ken Saro-Wiwa, human rights, whatever stories. Stop me if I'm wrong, by the way. And one thing, when David, we were talking with David, I was telling him all those things, and he said, "Yo, Abacha you." He told me you don't know Babangida, and I was like, "Wow!" And you are saying the same damn thing. Uh,
You
David
just
Hunde
you
told
just
me.
you just need
Yeah.
to read. You just need to read the classified documents. It's plain. Everything is public knowledge. Abacha didn't take any loans from the IMF. Not one.
Wow.
E- Every other president from IBB, every other president needed loans to survive. Abacha said no. So now the two presidents Nigeria have had are Murtala Mohammed that was killed 200, was it? He spent just 200 days in power. He was killed days after giving the US the middle finger, right? He was
Mm,
the president that went to the African Union and told the West that Africa has come of age and that they were no longer going to take instructions from the Americans. He gave that speech and then they killed him days later. He was killed on the
wow.
street. I'm
Yeah.
telling you
Yeah.
this, the president of Nigeria was killed in road traffic and the day went on like a normal day. You get the picture. So we had Murtala Mohammed, and my problem with some people is that they are not able to separate things, right? I am saying this doesn't mean that I support everything about Murtala Mohammed. And that is the aspect of critical thinking I keep talking about, right?
Mm.
I can say today that Abacha didn't borrow money from the IMF, but it doesn't mean I am saying that Abacha was not cruel. These are two different things, right? I try to tell
Yes.
people since we are not a machine, it is not 0 and 1. It is not black or white. Especially in
Mm.
geopolitics, there are gray areas. People do certain things. The same Murtala Mohammed that I'm telling you gave the middle finger to the Americans and he ended up being killed in road traffic. He led one of the massacres that happened during the Civil War. I can say these two things because two facts can coexist. But
Mm-hmm.
I find it difficult that my fellow countrymen don't want to accept that two things can happen. Like, it's either he's a good man or he's a bad man, right? But this same
Mm-hmm.
person did both things. He can be a terrible human being and then be a good leader based on the
Yeah.
records that we've had.
Mhm.
So if we have had better leaders, I wouldn't call him a good leader. Do you understand? But based on the
Yeah.
things he did, the trajectory was taking Nigeria on. In fact, go through the entire record. In 200 days, Murtala Mohammed did more for Nigeria than Muhammad Buhari in 8 years. Quote me anywhere.
Wow.
200 days.
Wow.
200,
Mm.
200 days. And then
Now,
the
now,
next,
go on,
the
go on.
next,
Sorry,
pro,
go on.
the next proactive president was Abacha, and you saw how he died. Now, here is one mysterious thing from the Abacha death. Yeah, the first media outlets that reported Abacha's death were foreign.
Ah, yes. He died in a very interesting way, right? Like,
Now,
you know,
yes,
yeah.
he died in an interesting way, yes, but local media didn't break the news.
Oh.
Ask anybody that knows the story. Local media didn't break the news. The news of his death came from outside Nigeria.
Mm-hmm.
When Abacha died, there was a certain person, a certain very interesting character that was flying at the time in his plane, and he was already speaking to the committee in Nigeria that was deliberating on who should succeed Abacha. Should I tell you his name?
Who?
Gilbert Chagari.
Uh-huh.
Guess who is in business with?
Who?
Bola Tinubu.
Okay. Okay.
Very close, actually.
Wow.
Very close. Wait,
What happened? What
do you,
happened?
do you, let me paint a pretty good picture for you. Now, Abacha was a brutal dictator. Yeah.
Mhm.
The Americans wanted him gone, either dead or removed from office. They don't care. They just wanted him gone. Right?
Yeah.
Such a leader that is hated in the West. He sent during his time, Nigeria was like the force in Africa. So if there is any war in Africa, Nigeria sends soldiers. You know how America is policing the world. Nigeria was basically policing Africa. The Liberia situation you heard about, Nigerian
Mm.
soldiers. Nigerian soldiers saved Sierra Leone and Liberia. That is
Oh.
the same military that is struggling to fight this ragtag militia in the bush with slippers. That military fought the war in Liberia. Do you know the let me tell you what happened in Liberia. The Americans refused to send forces there because they didn't want to lose men.
Hmm.
The war in Liberia is one of the most brutal civil wars. People's
Mm.
hands were chopped. These guys, so what's that his name again? Charles Taylor. They
That's
were doing
it.
incantation. They were eating human flesh. They
Yes.
do this in
Yes.
front of their opponents to scare them. That is, they cut off human beings and eat them to scare their opponents. That was the army Nigerians fought, the Nigerian military fought.
Mm.
Do you understand? And that was
I
not all.
do.
The Sierra Leone side of the war as well. You get. So
Wow.
when you hear of blood diamonds, the Sierra Leone blood diamonds, Nigerian soldiers brought that trade to an end. But if you watch the Hollywood movies they would do about it, you will not see the glory going to Nigerians. Guess which of the dictator brought those evil people to their knees? Abacha, right? So this is a very hated figure. So tell me, do you think this same Abacha is going to go around sleeping with just about anybody and then
Well,
okay,
well, let me tell you, the first time I heard about the story, it was crazy. I was like, you mean this guy, this strong, whatever leader that, cruel, ruthless, whatever you people call this guy, this is how he died? It didn't add up to me. But I
then
said, okay,
the ladies poisoned him. There was no
yeah,
security to check them. Do you mean he didn't taste the okay? There was nobody to taste the apple that eventually killed him. So they said there was a lady. There was a lady that was with him that narrated the story. Where is that lady? So you mean to tell me that the last person that was with the president of the strongest military in West Africa, the last lady that was with the president, the commander in chief of that military, the last lady that saw him alive was allowed to go after that man died? Does it make any sense to
mm,
you? You know, the story from Abacha was that he was more of a night creature. So he works most time nights. And then there is the
mm,
guest house that he uses a lot. So the so many conspiracies you see come from that story of the fact that he works at night. And okay, the last person we know that was officially with him before he died was, I think, the was it the Israeli prime minister or something like that, that he went to bid farewell in the airport or
uh-huh.
something. Yeah, I think I can't remember really whether it's the Israelis or yeah, but I think that was the person he was with officially that we know of on record. And at the time, Abacha was being treated, I think he was being treated. Was it? I can't tell for sure again, but I came across the documents that said he was being treated. He wasn't feeling too well, but the person that I think his personal guard. I'm trying to remember the story. You know, it's been a while I did the story. The personal guard
Yeah.
that was with him said nobody was with him at when he died. That he died alone.
Mm.
That nobody was with him when he died. When the doctor got to him and noticed he wasn't responding, that was when the call was placed through to the close guard that rushed in and discovered that the president was no more. Um, from there on, every information was trying, they were trying to control the narrative. But I think the mistake that happened at that time, I don't know why, was the autopsy that was not conducted. I think it was the autopsy that was not conducted. And I think I blame the incoming president, the replacement, that is the Absalami, because there is no way I become president and my predecessor just died and I will let whatever killed him slide, except if I have,
Yeah.
if I don't want to know, I don't want to say what is on my mind.
Mm.
If you read the reports from the foreign media that started circulating this, they said it was a rumor. It is not a concluded
Oh.
fact to them. They don't even know this to be fact. But you know how storytelling goes. right? The most interesting story is what flies, right?
Yeah.
That is just it with Abacha. I blame Abdusalami and whoever were in the committee that didn't want to find out how their president died.
Yeah, that was very careless. You have to. You have to.
Yeah.
And by the way, so you said the best, according to you,
Uh-huh.
on how we ran the economy and how we progressed Nigeria economically is Mutala. Now, uh,
Murtala,
uh,
I won't call him my best. I won't say he's my best, but he's up there. He's right up there. Talking about the
who is
president that really had the country at heart.
who is the best according to you? Who is the best that you can say? Okay, he wasn't perfect, but performance wise, this guy is the best performance wise. Good luck, Jonathan. Do you agree?
Yeah. Good luck. Good luck was a very. I'm really almost forgetting about Good luck because of the controversial way he was pushed out of office. Good luck did very well. But best, uh, I don't know. My main problem with Goodluck Jonathan was the fact that yeah, performance wise, he worked with experts, and that is what it should be. Yeah, especially because we are in a democracy, you don't have that privilege of imposing your will. You have to go through due process and all that, and still he got things done. He was able to grow the economy to the level he did, working with those experts and actually listening to them, yeah, not just using them to push his narrative. You understand? So in that
Mm.
regard, I think Jonathan did very, very well. My only challenge being the way he succumbed. He didn't. What's the word for me now? He didn't use the powers of the president.
Okay.
Yeah,
Mm.
he didn't use the powers of the president. You know, um, now I'm just afraid that people are going to misunderstand this thing I'm going to say. But as a president, even in a democracy, you shouldn't allow your country fall to foreign influence. Your sworn duty as the president, the oath he took was to defend the country from enemies, both foreign and domestic, right? Enemies, foreign and domestic, does not mean they will always come with guns. In fact, the most dangerous enemies we're dealing with in Nigerian democracy right now are the ones with microphones,
Mm. Powerful.
right? So
Mm.
when you're dealing with an enemy with the microphone, you have to fight. You have to fight. You don't hide. You don't try to be nice. You look at Donald Trump. I don't like Trump anymore. I used to support Trump. I used to understand that he was fighting against an establishment. But look at what Trump is doing, right? Trump is the president of the the democracy crusaders, right? That's the United States. Look at
Yeah.
what Trump is doing. Huh? Do you think you can use foreign influence to remove Trump? Can you even imagine it? You can't. As the president, you have powers. And when your enemies are not coming with guns, they are not so obvious, but they are still your enemies. Let me see, I'm trying to be so diplomatic with what I'm saying, but let me give you an example. When Goodluck Jonathan was president, there was a rally. During that rally, a casket was made with his picture on it.
Mm.
A casket was made with the picture of the president of Nigeria placed on it, and was being paraded on the streets in a rally, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm.
And this happened in a democracy. The president was aware of that rally. He was well aware of it. And then he did nothing. Now, let me ask you, if you are a private citizen, you are not a politician, right? If I make a casket and print your picture and place on it, and then send it to your email, you would report me to law enforcement and consider that a threat to your life, wouldn't you?
Yes.
We have freedom of speech in democracies, but you have no right to threaten the life of the president. You shouldn't. If you do that, you're a criminal, and you should be treated like a criminal. Also, when the Boko Haram issue got worse, because it didn't start under Jonathan. Boko Haram has been in existence for a long while. It got worse when the deal with the deal with the Niger Delta militants. So you're aware of that. I covered some of those in my Power and Plunder series. The amnesty deal that Yaradua signed was going to disarm the militants in the Niger Delta. From there on, Boko Haram sort of started. It's almost like, okay, so you guys are going to pay these people, let's do our own and get paid. Something like that. But these guys didn't just wake up from somewhere with guns. Somebody gave them guns. And then it was pretty obvious that the United States were not happy with Jonathan. Seeing how difficult the war against an insurgency that was threatening to tear the country apart. These guys declared a caliphate in Nigeria. They were not playing around. They had guns. They were killing people. They attacked the UN building. And the US refused to sell him weapons. Blatantly refused. Guess the excuse they gave? That Nigerian military targets civilians. That Nigerian military targets civilians. And so they refused to sell weapons to them under, I think, the Leahy Act or something. I can't really remember the name. So the Nigerian military were battling with bad equipment against a well coordinated and well equipped military insurgency. And then the opposition out of nowhere, that is the APC that was formed around that same time, they were using this as a campaign against the administration. Insecurity as campaign, people should be locked up. Honestly, people should have been locked up. And then the terrorists, they named one of the opposition candidates as a spokesperson for them, that he should come and speak for them.
Uh,
Somebody is going to be locked up. If I were in Goodluck Jonathan's shoes, a lot of people were going to get locked up. Democracy or not. You
so
know,
you're saying that.
in,
So, so,
I'm
so
not
you're saying that you
accusing
could have
anybody.
been. Mhm.
You said?
So you're saying you could have been a little bit tougher. That's what you're saying. Mm.
Mhm. On issues of security, you don't play around, because your first duty as president, whether Nigerians like it or not, is to defend Nigeria against enemies, both foreign and domestic. So if certain Nigerians want to be the domestic enemies, treat them as such. It is your duty as the president, right?
Mm.
That is my problem. Nigeria would be better off, and I know this because a lot more people have died. Jonathan is a good man, yeah, He, in fact, that became his undoing because his opponents know already that this is a weakness. They know that they can get away with this. So they keep pushing him, pushing him, pushing him. People were making videos, making mockery of him. In fact, he's the last Nigerian president that was mocked publicly in that fashion.
Mm.
Yes, this is a democracy. People should have the right to air out their views, especially when they are angry with the way the government is going. In fact, that is what we advocate for. People should be able to voice out concerns. People should be able to debate policies, talk about these things. But threatening the president's life? No. Nobody should have the right to do that. Nobody should have the right to use the death of civilians as campaign. Nobody should do that. Nobody should
So,
weaponize insecurity against
mm,
the government. And I'm saying this knowing who is even in power right now, right? When we
mm,
criticize insecurity in the country currently, I'm not using it to campaign against Tinubu. No, that would be terrible. But I am using it to say that Tinubu is not even doing enough to stop it. And it is obvious. Those sort of debates should be had. If the president is not making enough, if he's not making enough effort to stop this thing, if they are not being decisive, you can say that. But to sort of play politics with people's lives, do you know for a fact that during the kidnapping of the Chibok girls that escalated the whole bring back our girls that sent Jonathan out of
yeah,
office,
yeah.
that school, I think there was a warning before that attack. There was a warning. So who the hell allows children to go to school for an exam when there is a security risk in that place? Who does that? That person should be in jail.
Mm,
That person should be in jail, be the governor or whatever. If you are the governor of Borno State, when that thing happened in Borno State under your watch and there was a warning and it happened, you are going to be in jail the next morning. If I were the president, you are going to jail the next morning. Until those children are found, you will remain in jail. I mean it. We shouldn't play politics with people's lives, especially civilians. Soldiers decamped. That is, some Nigerian soldiers left the field. They stopped fighting because they had no weapons. They had no arms. They had no ammunition. They ran out of bullets. There were videos. Soldiers couldn't fight Boko Haram because those Boko Haram came with more superior firepower. How did they get it? Nigeria has
mm,
borders. Nigeria has borders. Nigeria has custom services that should patrol our borders. Their first mission is to safeguard the border of Nigeria. The number one person I'm arresting is the man in charge of customs. How did those weapons get into Nigeria? You will explain to the entire country. Do you understand?
I
So
understand.
this is not this is not me saying that the president should use excessive force for no reason. No, you use that force to defend your oath to protect Nigeria against both foreign and domestic enemies, especially when those enemies are not coming with guns. That is when they are more dangerous. Narrative is very important. Jonathan didn't use a lot of it. That is my whole grievance. I'm very angry saying these things because I knew the trajectory Nigeria was on. But look at us now. Jonathan said he considered the election because he knew Obama was against him. Yes, Obama said that. But he gave a press briefing before the Nigerian election advising Nigerians to vote on their next chapter. That is that is
Mm,
pure campaign stuff out there.
yeah.
If I were the president of Nigeria, if I had seen that clip before the election, that election is not holding. You can call me
Mm.
dictator, whatever. The election is not holding. And if the Americans declare war on Nigeria to remove the sitting president, then we will see. Everybody will see it. Do you understand? Because make it make sense to me that the president of the United States is sending delegates to Nigeria before Nigerian election, and the delegates are meeting with the opposition, and then the same president is coming to make such statements before the most crucial election in the country's history. That election will not happen, sir. Do you know what happened in the United States during the 2016 election after Donald Trump won Hillary Clinton? The Russian collusion story ran for, I think, nearly 2, 3 years, and the Americans were so passionate about it, how Russians had infiltrated their electoral system. They complained. CNN ran segments on collusion every single day for the next 2, 3 years until Mueller gave his report, right? The same United States of America's president was out giving statement that influenced Nigeria's election. Is that not election interference? Is that not? So practically, I think that alone is what makes Jonathan rank low for me. I till now I don't know if I've forgiven him for surrendering Nigerians to these militants called APC, because honestly that's what it is.
Wow, wow, beautiful. Wow, those are really tough insights, by the way. And before we go to Dangote, I need us to play a short game. So I have
Okay.
names. I have names of former Nigerian presidents. I need you to
Okay.
just say what you think about them, what you think about them, or how you can describe them in one sentence, just one sentence. Okay?
Okay. Okay.
Uh, let's start with the beginning. Dr. Namdi Azikwe.
Inconsequential.
Wow. Okay.
Now,
Okay.
I say this because I say this because when I read about Nnamdi Azikiwe, the way um the way I feel about him is just there, just indifferent. And part of the reason is because of what happened after the first coup, right? You know, a lot has gone wrong with the country, and he was part of the first people that enabled, let me use that word for lack of a better word, um, that enabled it. Yeah, let me use that word. Enabled. I'll just stop there because I'm still thinking maybe we may do an episode on him. So I don't want people
Mm,
to like prejudge that episode based on what I see about him now. Do you understand?
I get you. So,
Uh,
the word is inconsequential. That's it. Really. Okay.
to me,
You know, to you. Okay. 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 Yakubu, go on.
uh, Yakubu Gowon should never have happened. He Yakubu Gowon, he failed Nigeria. That's what I think about him. Especially with the Aburi Accords. Um,
Mm,
especially with the Aburi Accords, he failed Nigerians. There was a lot of hope after his um, the Aburi Accords had fallen through. The war has happened. Um, the Biafrans had lost the war. He had the opportunity to unite the country. Yeah, the opportunity was
mm.
there. The country was making a lot of money, but then I don't know. I should reserve clueless for another person. I don't know what happened to him, but I think he was sort of a puppet, right? He was never in control. Um, there was no moment where he actually, I would, whether he was really in charge. I don't know if he knew he was the president. You know what I mean? Like
Mm.
somebody who was handling him. That's what I can say. Somebody was making the decisions for him to come, and he was just a mouthpiece.
Okay. Are you gonna say who was behind him on this episode?
I don't know.
Okay.
No.
Okay. No problem. No
Yeah,
problem. Okay. Okay. I know we spoke about him, but just say it in one sentence. Mutala Muhammad.
brilliant, brilliant. He would have changed Nigeria. He's a
Okay.
very
Good.
he did very well. Yeah.
Good. Olusegun Obasanjo.
Hmm. The divisive figure. Not here, not there. He's just uh, he ah, hmm, he splits opinion a lot. I can say that he was during the presidency. That is not the military era now. Under his
Mhm.
civilian rule, he
Mhm.
he handled some situations the way I think I would have done, like the the situation with the massacre of some Nigerian soldiers that led to the Nigerian soldiers going to the village to massacre some people. What the soldiers did was terrible, but the the community had no right to lay a hand on any uniform man, right? Anybody wearing
Mhm.
the Nigerian camouflage that fights for the Nigerian flag. If you kill any of them, the entire community will be in trouble if they don't produce the people that killed them. So I think in that regard, um, killing innocent civilians is something I don't agree with, but the community, the way he handled the situation, I think it's we should give him some credit to say that you can't totally blame him because there was no better way. I don't know. I'm trying to be careful here. Oh. You have to
Mhm.
understand with me.
So he's
I'm trying to be
neither.
careful.
So yeah. So for him, he's on the fence. Like you're on
He's
the fence with it.
divisive figure. Yes, a divisive figure. It's not here. It's not there. He worked with these foreign people. You know,
Mm.
like when we talk about foreign interference and then talking about um, trying colluding with the Western governments against us when you know some of the policies they are proposing is not good enough. He accepted some of them, and sometimes he stood for Nigeria. He defended Nigeria well. He represented us well, right? So that's why I'm kind of saying it's here and there. You understand?
Okay. No problem. Shehu Shagari.
Well, Shehu Shagari is an honest man, right? But I think maybe he
Hmm.
had no business in politics because I don't understand why you should allow somebody that wasn't elected ruin your government. That is
Who's
Umaru
that?
Diko. Umaru Diko.
Uh, uh-huh.
Yeah, he was one of the figures that made the presidency of Shagari collapse into corruption and blah blah blah. But Shagari allowed most of those things to happen. So he's sort of a weak president that didn't know about the powers of the president. So I'll call him maybe weak. Mm.
Okay. Muhammadu Buhari.
Where's the word? Clueless.
No, you know what? You know what? Because for him, he was there during military times and during civilian times. So, which presidency was worse? Was it civilian or military? Which one was worse?
Was it civilian? I didn't experience the military, so everything I know about his military time was things I read about. But the civilian, I lived through it. It was terrible. He's clueless. He's wicked. He has no care for the Nigerians he claimed to lead or rule over. Uh, he's a dictator, a terrible one. He doesn't care about the rule of law, and above all, he's clueless again. And then he has no reason to be close to power, and again, he's clueless.
Wow.
So yeah, yeah,
So I think the keyword is clueless for Buhari.
clueless,
Okay.
very clueless. Yeah.
IBB Ibrahim Babangida. I know we talked about him, but summarize him in one sentence. In
I
one
cannot
sentence.
summarize. I cannot summarize IBB. I hate that one. He ruined Nigeria.
Wow.
He ruined Nigeria. Yeah, I'll call him the smiling dictator that ruined Nigeria. That's what I think.
Sanya
A
Bat.
rat. Back to IBB. You know how you've experienced how rats is biting you and breathing on you, so you don't know.
Mm, 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 mm.
That's what I'll classify his experience.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Mhm.
And the fact that you and David have said the same thing, it says a lot about this guy. Says a
I
lot
think
about this guy.
I'll go and check the episode of David about
Yeah.
him.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, he killed it. Okay. Sanya Bacha. I know we spoke about him, but summarize him in one sentence.
Mm. Sanya Bachar is an interesting figure. That's the word I would say. He's an interesting figure. He's a patriot, um, but then a little bit cruel, uh, and then also with an element of corruption. Yeah.
Hmm. Abdul Salami Abubakar.
Ah, the deal maker. They built the he I think he was the one that built the foundation, the wrong foundation of Nigeria's current problems. He laid the foundations for the problems we are witnessing in the Fourth Republic. The evidence
Wow.
of that thing I'm talking about is the 1999 Constitution.
Hmm.
Yep.
And you're saying that he's a foundation?
Yeah, he made it possible. He made it happen. Um, Firstly, is being the president in power when the one year transition, and this may sound mind blowing to you. During Abdulsalami's time, that 1 year period, there were some Nigerian soldiers that were fighting a war. I think that should be in Sierra Leone or so. So there was this particular amount of money that was quoted to buy them head gear. This thing soldiers wear to
Mm.
war to I don't know the name. Is it a helmet for bullets that
Yes.
shouldn't hit
Yeah.
them and all that? So there was this amount that was quoted for it alongside with raincoats for them. Guess what they bought for those soldiers? They bought them motorcycle helmets.
Oh, come on. What?
Mhm, mhm. To wear to war front. That's to wear in war, facing bullets. And then
Come on.
they quoted, was it how many $1,000 for raincoats? So I don't know. I don't know the deals that made the Fourth Republic possible. but I very much know who was in power when those deals were signed, and it's Abdulsalami. He was the president that was least investigated.
So deal maker. Deal maker is the best way to describe him.
Yep.
Umaru Yaradua.
The unlucky one. He would have
Ah,
been one of our best presidents. But then again, he was so honest. He wanted to do things differently. But again, he had a health condition that was used to, get rid of him.
really? You wanna go a bit further on that? Because that's interesting.
That's interesting with no evidence, so I can't even go further. But the thing is,
Okay.
it's quite interesting how the sickness progressed. It's also quite interesting how it was handled. He didn't just fall ill after becoming president. You know that, and
Mm.
we all know that the health was becoming challenging even during the campaigns. But so many things were wrong with the way his situation was handled, and there were so many interested parties in what was happening in Nigeria, especially after Obasanjo. So I think Yaradua was a victim of a lot of that.
Performance wise, how did he do?
He did very well. He started very well, and he was even going to do better. Um, when Obasanjo left, there were a lot of things wrong with Nigeria, especially in the corruption side of things. And the way Yaradua was elected was quite funny. The election was rigged so much so that even he admitted it during his inaugural speech that his election was rigged.
What? Whoa, that's crazy.
Yeah, yeah, and admitting that his government was going to do a lot to fix it. Um, so the foundation he was laying was actually taking Nigeria somewhere, but we have this problem of continuity. You understand? I think
Mm.
there's a president will start something and then somebody else will come and undo what he started, right? And then they
Mm.
start their own, and before you know, another person come and undo what. So, but Yaradua, I think, was laying good foundations that would have taken Nigeria um, to good enough heights. And we saw what happened under Goodluck Jonathan. Even though Yaradua spent just 3 years in office, I believe he laid some of the foundations that Goodluck came and built on.
Mm.
Yeah.
Makes sense. Well, the next guy is good luck. Some I know
Yeah,
you talked about him. Just summarize him in one sentence.
a good man, a good man, and um, a, a president that has the good of the nation at heart.
And then of course the current president, Bola Tinubu. Uh, just one
Hmm.
sentence. Just one. Just one sentence. Then we go to Dangote. Then we close. But just one sentence about. Okay, one word. One word. One word.
Is the dictator in chief, the godfather.
Say less. Say less. Well,
Yeah.
Dangote. Dangote. We need to talk about Dangote, man. $20 billion refinery, oil refinery.
Hmm.
When it happened the first time, I didn't believe it. I didn't believe it until I first saw that. Oh, and I saw it was even opened, prematurely by the previous president Buhari, and I was
Yeah,
like,
because
even
he wanted to
like
cut ribbons.
Yeah, I was like, whoa. But then now it's turning out to be something way revolutionary in the African energy space. Now, my question is this: it produces 650,000 barrels a day. That's unprecedented. Is Nigeria, for people who don't know, because you know this channel has a lot of Nigerians, but also has a lot of African Americans, a lot of Kenyans, a lot of South Africans. So we might not know what is going on. At least some of us. What is going on is Nigeria, which is the largest producer of oil in Africa, is it using the Dangote Refinery to its full capacity? That means is the crude oil that's in Nigeria being processed and refined in Dangote refineries and then sold back to Nigerians domestically, or is that not the case? Is it still the old school? Nigeria exports its crude oil outside and then imports refined oil. What is going on in the oil industry in Nigeria? For,
Okay. This is quite interesting. The Dangote Refinery is one of the best things to have happened to Nigeria in the last couple of years, because without the Dangote Refinery, I can assure you that this US-Iran war would have crippled the Nigerian economy, because fewer, maybe Nigerians will be struggling to even, many people will sell their cars. Some will be struggling to get fuel at close to 2, 3 thousand if they even see, because of this war. But that's not the case today because of the Dangote refinery. However, talking about supply to Dangote, the there are some brilliant people in NNPC. Let me start from there. They are so brilliant that they made some deals. Um, they registered some companies and then used those to borrow funds outside. From outside, they borrow money from foreign creditors, and then they are paying back with future crude that Nigeria was going to drill. So this is sort of like mortgaging the crude that you haven't drilled. And these deals were signed, multiple of them, they were signed with foreign companies. So there is a limit to what is available to even sell, because most of the crude had already been mortgaged. So when you see that Nigeria is producing maybe 2 million barrels of crude oil per day, let's say from that 2 million barrels, a lot of the millions of barrels had already been sold before today. And the funny thing is that the money that was generated from this mortgage arrangement was used to repair the NNPC refineries. Yeah, it turns out NNPC has, I think, 4 refineries that don't refine anything. So those refineries are dead. They've been dead since God knows when. Even right from Obasanjo's time, he tried to sell them off, but Yaradua reversed those deals. Funny enough, the person that was buying them at the time was Dangote, right? He already paid. Yeah, but Yaradua came and they refunded his money, and Nigeria took back possession of those refineries. I don't know which master strategist gave him that idea, but it meant that the NNPC used Nigeria's future crude to collect loans to fix the refineries that didn't work. So it's like selling our future and then setting the money on fire, because the money was wasted. And I'm talking about billions. You want to know the figure?
Yeah,
20,
sure.
20, I think around 18 to $20 billion. So in the past 10 years, 2 decades rather, Nigeria has spent 18 to 25 billion dollars to repair those four refineries.
Uh, what?
How much did you say Dangote built his refinery again?
20
20.
billion dollars.
Yep. The combined capacity of the four refineries that they spent almost 25 billion on top is not up to what Dangote's refinery is producing. But we spent all that money, and most of the money is loans. And the way we repay the loan is through crude oil. So now that we have the Dangote refinery that is functioning, NNPC is saying they don't have crude to give to Dangote. So there was this time Dangote wanted to get crude to his refinery. They sent him to international oil companies. You know what that means? So the companies that were drilling in Nigeria told him to contact their international arm to sell to him. So he has to go outside Nigeria to import crude to Nigeria, to refine crude in Nigeria, and then sell the refined petrol to Nigeria.
Because of
So
these
that's the
deals that
situation.
they. Mm.
So now, currently, um, I think like 70 to 80% of Nigeria's fuel comes from Dangote. That is
Mm.
the daily fuel we consume in Nigeria. Like 70 to 80%, I'm not really sure on the exact figure, but I think 70 to 80% of our domestic consumption right now comes from
Mm.
Dangote's refinery,
I saw that. I
right?
saw that. Yeah.
The remaining percent is still being imported. Mind you, Dangote can supply us everything. He has the capacity to supply everything. Do you know why this will not happen?
Why?
Because we need trade liberalization, we need competition. Dangote is a monopoly. He's going to ruin the markets, he's going to take control of fuel. So we need to open the markets, let the market decide, let people have the ability to sell and compete with him. Whether those people have refineries or not, they should be able to import fuel from outside and sell.
Mm.
Like I keep telling you, Nigeria has a leadership problem. And this leadership problem comes right from the top to the bottom. I'm talking about politics, schools, religious houses, everywhere there's leadership problem. Because Dangote as it is, I'm going to get back to this leadership issue. Maybe we'll close with that.
Mm-hmm.
Dangote as it is should be a national project, right?
Yes.
You must have heard of this American industrialist. What's this his name again? Was it
Mm.
John D. Rockefeller?
Yeah. Maybe Rockefeller. Yeah.
We need to read about the American Industrial Revolution. Hmm?
Mm.
When you hear of monopoly, what do you mean? Dangote is not even a monopoly. He hasn't even started. He's learning.
Mm.
He's learning. You need to read about how the Chinese built their economy. The government backs you, and back you, and back you. See, if you are starting a business, if that's the it's going to be of benefit to the people of China, you will do it with government money. Yes, you will do it with government money. Do you understand? It is
Mm.
not about you, it is about the country. That is what it is. But here, they expect a private businessman to use his private money to build a business and let it serve the country. What is the government doing while it was building?
Mm-hmm. Ah,
That's my problem.
good question.
That's my
Mm.
problem. So if you guys will sit down and watch him use his private money to build, don't come around complaining when he's trying to make his money back. He's a private businessman. And yes, this is where I admit that Dangote gets concessions from the government in some things. Like I
Mm.
said before, two things can be true, right? Aha.
Mm.
So this is where I admit that he gets concessions from the government. Sometimes he gets backing from the government. It's not like the government ignores him completely. No, he he couldn't have survived this long in Nigeria if he doesn't have support of several governments that he has survived. Yes, but what I'm saying now, as regards to this particular refinery, is that this is the thing that we produce oil. If you hear Nigeria, you hear of crude oil, the largest oil producer in Africa, right? We should be supplying the entire West Africa.
Yeah.
That's how I think
Mm.
around it. West Africa should be using the naira. I was telling a friend the other day that if if you are serious, and I think I told you this, that the president that will change Nigeria, people are going to hate him. The president that will make Nigeria work, people are not going to like him
Mm.
because
At first.
you have to make yes, you have to make some very tough decisions. You see, West Africa, Nigeria has the largest military in West Africa. Nigeria is the largest oil producer. Nigeria is the largest economy in West Africa. Do you understand? West
Mm-hmm.
Africa is going to buy as long as people continue to use oil. They are going to buy their oil from Nigeria, and they are going to do it in naira. West African countries are going to hold the naira in their banks. If if I were president of Nigeria, yes, they are going to do that. They will buy oil from Nigeria. They will use the naira to do that, and we will do our trading together without all these borders and whatnot. Nigeria has the might to make that possible. What is ECOWAS? What is ECOWAS? Nigeria has 70% of what the GDP of ECOWAS is. Without Nigeria economy, it's nothing.
Mm.
Nigeria, this oil guys, I did an episode on oil smuggling, and when Nigeria was paying subsidy money, Nigeria give money to them, they import oil, and then they sneak it to Benin Republic to sell at the real price. That's what they do. That's what they do. So they smuggle the oil that Nigeria paid for, take it to these other countries in West Africa and sell to them at ridiculous prices. That's the real market price of the oil because they know the subsidy has been paid at home.
Mm.
People, these people should be publicly executed for such treason against the country. That is how China deals with such corruption. Do you understand why I said people are going to hate such a leader now?
Yeah.
Because
Yeah. Yeah.
when we are talking about geopolitics, yes, I was telling my friend that if I were an American, I would be proud of my country. Because, of course, they are able to impose their will wherever they go, although they cause nuisance everywhere in the world, which they can stay out of sometimes, right? But it is their country, and what they are doing is to further their interests. Do you understand? To further the
Mm-hmm.
interest of the United States of America. If I were president of Nigeria, what I would be doing would be to further the interest of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, no matter what. And I think that is where we have a problem. Our leaders or our politicians don't even have interest of Nigeria at heart, not to even think of what will benefit the country. So it's more like personal interest. Do you get the picture? If not, a
Mm.
refinery like that of Dangote shouldn't. be going out to build another refinery in Kenya.
Yes,
So
yes,
the refinery is supposed to serve East and Central Africa. The one he's trying to
yes.
build there, I think 700,000 barrels per day.
Mm, mm.
Yeah, he's trying to expand the one in Nigeria to like 1.4 million barrels per day. So
Wow.
what would have been the focus of the government is to get some ownership of that refinery, right? And then make sure it is the largest refinery in the world. You see how you've heard of Saudi Aramco?
Yes.
Aha.
Woo, yes. Mm.
So make Dangote the national something. Do you understand? Put your money there. Let every country in Africa come and buy oil from you if they can refine by themselves. Why can't we do it? And then our next door neighbor, Niger, they have lots of uranium.
Yes.
Do you know Niger they were getting electricity from Nigeria?
Wow. I didn't.
And
Wow.
and guess what? The France that was taking uranium from there, guess what they were doing with the uranium? That's what powers their nuclear energy. So the source is just our next door neighbor, sir. It's just our next door neighbor here in West Africa. So there are countries with lots of resources that we can put our heads together and build West Africa into a powerful hub that the rest of the world will be terrified when they think around us. And I think a strong president like that would want to have one or two nuclear weapons. And guess who has a lot of uranium? Niger. Guess who
Niger.
has a lot of guess who has a lot of gold? Close to Niger there is Burkina Faso.
Traore. Mm.
So trust me, if well, I keep telling back to the leadership issue we're talking about here. I keep telling my friend that the luck that they have is I don't have interest in becoming president, and I'm even from a very minority place that our politics here, they don't know you. You can't. If not, you see, some like I told you earlier, the number one enemy we have are the ones without guns. Some of the narratives have to be cut out. Then the the ideology, we have to build it into people. The values, the patriotism, the love for country. We have to instill it from 5 years old. As you turn five, there are some basic things about your country you should already know.
Mm.
And that indoctrination will go on and on and on until you can wake up from sleep and recite it. That's how to build a nation, build the people that care about the country. Dangote is a
Wait,
private businessman.
wait, before
So
wait, 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 before we close the oil topic, how did oil come from? I read somewhere it was it's the oil price per liter is almost 10 times higher than it was before Bola Tinubu took office. Is that true? And how did it get so high? I know it's because of the removal of subsidies, but I'm sure
mhm.
by now things could have been better, right? Like it's been 4 years.
No, it's not going to be better. Can't be better. Fuel it's now 1,000, I think 1,200 or 1,300
Yeah.
naira per liter compared to 285 thereabout before or just two something. Imagine it's just 4 years ago and we're forgetting what it used to be like. You
Almost
know,
10 times higher.
mhm. The thing is we adapt to pain, we adapt to hardship here in this part of the world. So no matter how difficult it gets, we'll keep adapting. And that is why I say it's not going to come down. Um, also, also, like I I told you just now. In the oil industry, crude oil is bought with US dollars. So when Dangote goes to the market to shop for crude oil that Nigeria cannot provide him, he spends dollars to buy it.
Mhm.
So when you include how much he's going to spend to import that crude to his refinery, you begin to see that things are not looking so good for him. Then after refining, should he sell it for less so that the fuel price will come down? Of course not. Of course not. So even though the fuel subsidy is gone, we are still not supplying Dangote enough. He is still buying from outside. He's still getting. In fact, I think there was one time I read a report that he was bringing in crude from the United States.
Yes, I saw that earlier this year. I was disgusted. I was
Mhm.
disgusted.
So imagine bringing crude oil all the way from the US to Nigeria to come and refine. So what's the difference? Just go and buy the thing. It's the same thing. And then you still have, like I told you, it's just 80% thereabout that he's supplying us. So the remaining 20% is still coming from oil marketers that are also distributing their own. If anything, I think that he has stabilized the price a little bit now because of the fact that he drops the prices sometimes, and there's always anytime he drops it, NFPC drops theirs, and like that. So I think
Mm.
this is going to be our new normal for a while. This is going to be our new normal, except of course something happened. I don't know what's going to happen. I'll bring the price down to the levels we used to know. I don't even know if that is possible again.
Wow, wow, bro. This, you know what? This is a 3 hour classic episode. I really enjoyed talking to you, Brother Jude. Before you give your final word, by the way, because I know you want to give a very strong final word, I always like giving mine first so that the guest can end the show. Uh,
Okay.
you know what? You know what, Brother Jude Bela? What you just said about Tinubu, what you just said about the economy of Nigeria, about the politics of Nigeria. Uh, let me, if I could just have the power to substitute every single word that you said, Nigeria, Tinubu, Atiku Abubakar, Obi, like all the things you've said, if I substitute those four words, that is Nigeria, uh, Atiku Abubakar, or Peter Obi, politics, like if I just substitute those words with Kenya, Ruto, Gashagua, and people will think that you are describing Kenya. Like that's how we are similar. The way opposition is beefing with one another, they can't unite. It's the same thing here in Kenya. Ruto is very unpopular. I'm sure you follow Kenyan politics sometimes. You know how Ruto is
Yeah.
very unpopular. Ruto is like, let me tell you, Ruto is a carbon copy of Tinubu. He's a carbon copy. Same thing, same thing. Oh my, like, and that's why I keep on saying that we should be Pan Africanists by nature. We should be
Mm,
Pan Africanists by nature. We all have the same problems. We all have the
mm,
same problems. We all have the same problems. Our economy is being run by IMF and World Bank. Same thing with Nigeria, the way you've said with Babangida back in the day with the SAPs, social adjustment programs. I'm telling you, we have the same problems. Like that's why we should be Pan Africanists by nature. That's why we
mm,
should always think further. And I want to talk to Nigerians because I know many Nigerians are watching this. Don't just think about Nigeria. Think about
mm.
Burkina Faso. And don't just think about West Africa. Think about Congo. Think about Kenya. Think about Uganda. Think about South Africa. I tell Kenyans this all the time. Don't think, think beyond the Berlin Conference borders. Back in the day, there were no borders like this. Think beyond these borders that these white people put on us, and you'll find out that we have more in common than we have apart. So I want to say, Brother Jude, thank you so much for coming. This was very enlightening. I can't wait
Thank you.
for people to watch this. I watch your videos, and the way you've explained things in a detailed way is the same way you do it in your videos, and that's what I really enjoy your content. Keep on doing what you're doing. Don't give up. Don't be scared by anyone. Keep on doing what you're doing. Don't be scared. Don't like even the people who are coming up to you and everything. Don't let anybody scare you from saying the truth. So that's my last word, brother. Thank you so much. You just know you have a brother, you have a fan from Nairobi, Kenya, who is really, really, really vouching for you. The ideas you've said, you are the type of people who should be leading Nigeria, not Tinobus, not whoever, Buhari's, and you are the type of people who should lead Nigeria. Maybe one day I don't know, with the passion that you have, you should maybe give it a stab. I don't know, maybe. I don't know. I'm just, maybe. So,
Maybe.
thank you so much. No, you know what? Not maybe. You should, because I've said it multiple times.
Okay.
I'm 26 years old. By the way, I'm 26 years old. How old are you, by the way, brother? You look like you're in your 20s.
I'm 32.
No, you can't be 32. You're 20. You're 28 or something. You can't be 32.
I get that a lot. I get that a lot. I'm 32. I turned 32 in June this year.
You're a June baby.
Yeah, 1st June.
First, I'm June 10th. I'm also a Gemini. I'm also a June baby. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow, that's interesting.
Yeah. So, there's something about Gemini. Sorry, go on. Sorry, go on. You're saying something.
Yeah. So I turned 32 this year. Some of my friends said I should ask my mom what's my real birthday. So people don't believe it when I say I'm over 30. But yeah, I am.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's amazing. It's amazing. And there's something about Geminis. One thing I've realized about us Geminis, and I've studied Geminis, we have a hunger for knowledge. That's something that I see in almost every June baby or Gemini that I've seen. We have a hunger for information. That's the word. We have a hunger for information. But anyway, bro, thank you so much. Please give your final word as we end. Please give your final word. Yeah.
Okay. There's this thing I wanted to say initially. I think that would be my final word. It's about leadership. I think the biggest problem in Nigeria currently, and not just Nigeria, has to be leadership. Africa in general now. And I don't mean the cliche good leader, bad leader talk. I mean, it's almost like we don't have leaders at all. We just have a bunch of selfish politicians who are using citizens to fight for positions they can then use to enrich themselves. Because quite frankly, what we have is kleptocracy. These guys just use their position in power to make themselves richer. And the result of that arrangement is foreign powers who act like vultures circling around and looking for how to make deals with whoever gets into power. Then it's just business as usual. If you sit a Nigerian politician down now and ask them how they plan to make Nigeria work, and then listen to what they have to say, it's mostly just talking points from the World Bank and IMF. These are the same institutions that have continuously recommended policies that make life difficult for the average Nigerian person. But like I said earlier, this is not just a problem with politicians. Now, if you go into our religious houses, people are taught to be docile. When it comes to important issues like the economy, governance, and demanding accountability from public office holders, they teach people not to voice out. You can't question authorities. They call it rebellion. Submit to constituted authority. Yes, while I agree that people should follow law and order and all that, we should also encourage the citizens to know what their rights are, what their basic rights are. But when you continually tell a congregation that they operate with the economy of heaven, how will you convince such people that anything is wrong enough to warrant them questioning the government of the day? In the end, every conversation ends in it is well or God will help us. And that is why we are stuck where we are right now. So I think our main problem is a general lack of leadership. We don't have many leaders willing to do anything to change the situation we are in. And it's now more about winning in their individual journey while the country rots away in the hands of kleptocrats who are chasing generational wealth for themselves and their family. But that is where we come in as the citizens who want our countries to be better. I believe it is in our hands to do something about these things, not just listen, not just debate endlessly, and not just argue about them. We should view these problems as a collective one, not individual, right? That is how I believe we can turn our fortunes around. That's how I believe we can change our countries. Because if we sit around and wait for each election season to elect our favorite politician into office, we are never going to get it right. I'm not saying you should go to the streets and topple your government. No, get me clearly. That's not what I'm saying. But if you decide that that is what will save your country, please, by all means, it is your decision and it should be your decision. But what I'm saying clearly here is that Africans, we need to unite. And I'm not saying this as the usual cliche everyone says. We need to really unite, sit down and evaluate our situation. Take a close look at our countries. Why is it that we have the resources that every other country needs, but we don't have the means or the factories to refine those resources into the finished product? Why are we always selling our raw materials instead of finished goods? Ordinarily,
Mm.
if you have crude oil, is it not better? Okay, let me ask you this. As a business person, if you want to build a fruit juice factory, would you rather build it miles away from where you have enough fruit or closer to it? It will
Closer.
save you money if you build it closer. So why are countries in need of cobalt not coming to build the factories they need those cobalt for on African soil? These are the questions we should be asking. If you need semiconductors and you know that all the resources you need to produce them are located on African soil, why are you not building your semiconductor factories on African soil? Why do you need the countries with those resources to be in some kind of crisis so that you can get those resources for cheap prices? We need to sit down and ask ourselves this question. We have a lot of gold. Why are they not building gold refineries on African soil? Why do they need the raw ore? Why do they need to just come and take it away to another place to go and refine? Right? Why
Mhm.
are they not coming to build factories that they can use our lithium to produce whatever they need to produce here? There is nowhere you go in Nigeria that you don't see a Toyota car. Why is Toyota not coming to build a factory here, even an assembling plant, right?
Mm. Mm.
Why do we need to import everything we use? Why do we have cocoa, but we need to import beverages like chocolate? Why Why do we always export our raw to import the finished goods? Until we are able to sit down and ask ourselves these questions, we are not going
Mm.
anywhere. And most importantly, why is it cheaper and easier to travel from Europe to an African country than from Africa to a fellow African country? Why is a citizen of the United States of America able to use his visa to use his passport to Nigeria without requiring a visa, but a Nigerian needs a visa to travel to the United States? Why is the United States passport stronger than Nigerian passport even on African soil? These are the questions we should ask. I believe
Mm.
I've said enough.
You've said enough, brother. You've said enough. Thank you so much for coming. Oh, thank you so much, guys. Go. If you don't watch Jude Bela by now, there's something wrong with you. Go to the YouTube. Just just type Jude Bela and watch those documentaries. And comment, by the way, the suggestions that you guys, the stories, the African stories that you guys want Jude to do. I'm sure he'll be happy to do his research and expose them as well. Jude, thank you so much. Asante
Thank you so
sana.
much for
That
having me.
I don't know how you guys say thank you, but here in Swahili we say asante sana. Thank you so
I
much.
think I
Thank you.
think I want to learn. I want to learn Swahili. I think that language is very interesting, and we should adopt it in Africa.
Yeah, I always say that. I always say that it's the easiest and it's the most widely spoken African language in Africa. Anyway, thank
Wow.
you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you so
Thank you
much.
for having
Thank
me.
you.
Thank you.